Douluo, destroying Yu Xiaogang, I'm invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. Put on your clothes quickly. But there was nothing to see. She was only 6 years old. Although children on Douluo continent were generally precocious, they were not too precocious. They usually started to develop into monsters at the age of 10. At the age of 6, there was not much difference in appearance between her and children on Earth. So a hint of disappointment flashed in Zhang Tianyu's eyes. Alas, there was no difference between her and a little boy. Well, there was no difference between her and Tang San. But Xiao Wu didn't think so. Seeing that she was being seen, she blushed with shame. You, close your eyes. Don't look. Don't look. Xiao Wu covered her body and turned around, with her back to Zhang Tianyu. Okay, I won't look. Zhang Tianyu turned around immediately and gentlemanly. The key point was that there was nothing to see. Zhang Tianyu shrugged. His age was there. Even Zhu Xiaogang at this age was probably not much different from a little boy. Although Zhang Tianyu had turned around, Xiao Wu's heart was still beating wildly. She said in her heart, damn it. He actually saw her. Damn it. What should I do? What if I can't get married in the future? Although she is 100,000 years old, it doesn't mean that she has lived for 100,000 years. After she turned into a human, for the purpose and mechanism of self-protection, her soul beast characteristics and habits will completely disappear, and all her behavior patterns and psychology will be replaced by humans, the same as humans. Therefore, after being seen by Zhang Tianyu, her reaction was a normal human reaction. Those who behaved abnormally have been killed, so their genes were not inherited. After seeing her reaction, Zhang Tianyu secretly complained in his heart, this reaction reminds me of those female fairies I have seen on Earth before. They were animals before, and didn't wear clothes. But after they became humans, they had to wear clothes. It's outrageous. The system said, it's like wearing a bikini on the beach, is a normal behavior, but wearing a bikini in school will be called to the principal's office for a lecture. Zhang Tianyu perked up. Come on, let me educate you in detail. At this moment, Xiao Wu interrupted their obscene exchange. You are helping me see what's on my back. Zhang Tianyu coughed. Okay, then I'll turn around. You get ready. Well, turn around. Xiao Wu's voice was full of girlish shyness and whimpers. Zhang Tianyu turned around and took a careful look at the smooth and white beautiful back and said, I'm sure I didn't see anything wrong. Could it be your illusion just now? Do you still feel something moving now? Xiao Wu turned around and looked at her clothes carefully. After confirming that there was nothing on her clothes, she said, is it really my illusion? It's unlikely. The feeling was so real. How could it be an illusion? Zhang Tianyu spread his hands. Then I don't know. Now I hope to feel what you felt just now, so that I can also know. Hiss. As he said that, his expression suddenly froze. Xiao Wu was stunned. What's wrong? Could it be that you also? Zhang Tianyu frowned. Well, I seemed to feel something moving on my back just now, but I'm standing now. Xiao Wu said, so what? I was sitting later, but I still felt something on my back. Zhang Tianyu moved his shoulders and touched his back with his backhand. No, something is wrong. It moved again. Turn around first, and I'll put on your clothes. By the way, I'll take a look at your back. Xiao Wu said. Zhang Tianyu turned around immediately. Xiao Wu took the opportunity to quickly pick up the clothes on the ground, confirmed again and again that there was nothing on the clothes, and then quickly put them on. Then she looked carefully at Zhang Tianyu's back, but she didn't see anything on his back. Xiao Wu was about to speak, and Zhang Tianyu immediately said, it's moving again. It's moving again. It's here. He pointed to a place on his back, but Xiao Wu looked there, and there was nothing there, and she didn't see anything moving under the clothes. This is weird. What's going on? Xiao Wu was really confused. It was ridiculous. Could there be some invisible soul beasts nearby? But this is a village. How could there be any soul beasts near the village? At most, there are some wild beasts. If there were soul beasts, these villagers would have been in danger long ago. I feel it here again. Xiao Wu, help me take a look. Zhang Tianyu pointed again, but he didn't expect Xiao Wu to suddenly bend her lips. With a cunning look in her eyes, she suddenly stretched out her hands and grabbed the clothes on both sides of Zhang Tianyu's shoulders. The other hand reached Zhang Tianyu's chest. Before Zhang Tianyu could react, she unbuttoned his clothes and pulled hard. Wow. Zhang Tianyu's shirt was taken off. This? Zhang Tianyu was stunned. What does this chick want to do? He turned around and looked at Xiao Wu with a confused face. You, what are you doing? Xiao Wu looked at Zhang Tianyu with some ill intentions. Who asked you to look at me just now? So I want to see yours too. Now we are even. This? Zhang Tianyu was speechless. Okay, anyway, there is only one upper body, and at our age, we are about the same. In fact, because I often exercise, especially the deltoids and pectoralis major muscles are often trained, so it looks bigger than yours. You can look at it casually if you want. It doesn't matter. Sure enough, looking at Zhang Tianyu's upper body, Zhang Tianyu didn't react, but Xiao Wu blushed again. Look at it. Zhang Tianyu shrugged. I look at you and you blush. You look at me, and I still blush. You are taking advantage of me. Is it okay to take advantage of me? HMPH. Put on your clothes quickly. I don't want to see you anymore. Xiao Wu blushed and turned her body to the side, but she couldn't help but secretly look over. Don't worry, you haven't seen if there is anything on my back yet. Zhang Tianyu turned around and turned his back to her. I'm wondering now, maybe the thing on your back just now came to my back, so you didn't feel anything, but I did. Upon hearing this, Xiao Wu didn't care about being shy anymore and immediately looked carefully. This time she really saw a strange black bug that she had never seen before. She stretched out her hand and caught it in her hand. Xiao Wu's eyes widened. I caught it. It turns out that this little thing is making trouble. Zhang Tianyu turned around, and what Xiao Wu caught in her hand was the flying centipede he released. This little bug was the bug that interfered with Tang Monk in the Battle of Chechi Kingdom in Journey to the West. Its characteristic is that it can be invisible. After being invisible, even the title Douluo can't find it. Of course, not only can it be invisible, but it can also make Xiao Wu lose her virginity. Chapter 27. The window paper was broken. Hint, the current task progress has been completed by 66.7%, and the conditions for pitting Xiao Wu and gaining favor have been met. This is not that difficult. Hint, the host has become more and more proficient in using the props of this system. A small insect that costs less than 10 points has successfully pitted Xiao Wu and also made Xiao Wu's favor towards the host increase a lot. It's amazing. Zhang Tianyu was silent for 2 seconds and said in his heart, actually, I know what you want to say. You can just say that I'm a scumbag. It doesn't matter. This. The system is confused. The host is so powerful. He can actually guess what I'm thinking. Anyway, you have said this to me before. Zhang Tianyu said in his heart. Xiao Wu was so angry that she squeezed the flying centipede hard and threw it out with force. Zhang Tianyu hooked his finger, and the flying centipede immediately became invisible after landing, then crawled into Zhang Tianyu's hand, drilled into his palm, and was collected by him in the system space. This little insect can be reused. As long as it is not killed, it can be used 3 times. Although Xiao Wu had pinched it hard just now, it was a pity that the dimension of Journey to the West was too far beyond the dimension of Douluo continent, so even if Xiao Wu used all her strength, she could not kill this little bug from Journey to the West. But fortunately, I can rest assured now. Zhang Tianyu comfortably stepped on the grass and let out a long breath. Xiao Wu also took a deep breath and then lay down beside Zhang Tianyu. The night breeze was blowing gently, the moonlight was bright, and everything was quiet. No matter which plane the village was in, there was a common feature, that is, it would be very quiet at night, unlike the city, where there was no shitty nightlife. Although it was very quiet around, Xiao Wu's heart could not calm down at all, and her mind kept circling the scene of Zhang Tianyu looking at her just now. Zhang Xianyu was thinking non-stop in his mind. 2 conditions had been met. He was thinking about how to meet the 3rd condition and let Xiao Wu voluntarily become someone close to him. Soon he had an idea and asked, after talking about me, let's talk about you. You said before that you are in a similar situation to me. Are you the only one left in your family? Hearing this question, Xiao Wu's originally pounding heart immediately calmed down. She was silent for a long time before saying, I'm similar to you, but maybe I'm better than you, because I have 2 very good friends. Zhang Xianyu smiled. Are you talking about me and Asen? Xiao Wu shook her head. No, there are 2 very good friends in my hometown. They have always taken care of me, protected me, and treated me very well, just like family. Zhang Xianyu nodded, like family, but after all, alas, they are not family. Xiao Wu's delicate body trembled slightly, and there seemed to be a layer of mist in her eyes. The time has come. Now. Zhang Xianyu sat up, looked at Xiao Wu seriously, and asked, you have no family, and I have no family either. If you don't mind, can I be your family? Xiao Wu was stunned, looking at Zhang Xianyu's handsome face and sincere eyes. At this moment, her heart was touched. After a few seconds of silence, she lowered her head, not daring to look at Zhang Xianyu, and whispered, be my family. I'm afraid you will regret it. Why? Zhang Xianyu asked. Because there may be many people who want to kill me in the future. Xiao Wu still didn't dare to look up at Zhang Xianyu. Kill you? Zhang Xianyu laughed. As long as I'm alive, I can guarantee that I won't let you get hurt. After hearing these decisive words, Xiao Wu's delicate body trembled. She finally raised her head and looked at Zhang Xianyu with some emotion. But what if a very powerful person wants to kill me? Like a soul Douluo, or even a titled Douluo who wants to kill me? Zhang Xianyu looked straight into her eyes. Even if God wants to kill you, I will stand in front of you. As long as I'm alive, I will never allow anyone to hurt you. Hint, ahem. Host, the strength is not enough. Your performance this time is not as good as last time. Zhang Xianyu thought to himself, shut up, I haven't finished yet. As he said, Zhang Xianyu held Xiao Wu's hand and said firmly, even if I die, my soul will protect you at the last moment. Unless they grind me to ashes and let my soul fly away. Hint. 666. Tang San just said to let others step over his body. Last time you just said that your body would become a wall to protect her. Good fellow, you have turned into an immortal god of war this time, right? You want to protect the soul even after death. Tang San can be rubbed on the ground by you. Xiao Wu held Zhang Xianyu's hand tightly, her eyes turned red, and then she nodded gently but firmly. I do. Hint, congratulations. Picking up girls is a tough job. Mission completed. Obtain mission rewards. Soul level +2, reward points +20, random soul bone unlocking degree +50%. Zhang Xianyu smiled gently. Isn't it done? Although Xiao Wu has 100,000 years of cultivation, what's the problem? In terms of feelings, she is a complete novice, and is not a match for me, a super scumbag. No, she is not a match for me, a super love saint. To deal with this kind of chick, I don't even need to use any tricks, just some simple basic operations can easily handle it. Afterwards, he continued to chat with Xiao Wu. After they became closer, he could clearly feel the difference in Xiao Wu's attitude towards him. If they were good friends before, now they were like a family. The gentle friendship in their eyes could not be concealed. He took the time to look at the attribute table. The soul power level had reached level 18. Zhang Xianyu sighed. It was fast to upgrade by completing tasks. Who would practice meditation if they could upgrade by completing tasks so quickly? It's not that he didn't want to meditate, but as a modern person, meditation was too boring for him. Almost every time he meditated, he couldn't help wanting to sleep. His eyelids were heavy, as if they were hung with lead. Ahem, I've gone off topic. Let's deal with the girl in front of us seriously first. Half an hour later, the two returned to Tang San's home hand in hand. Tang San also clearly felt that their relationship had changed. Really, this is completely felt. As long as Tang San is not blind, he can see that Xiao Wu's eyes when looking at Zhang Xianyu before were not so gentle. So, have these two finally broken that layer of window paper? Oh no, don't. You are only 6 years old. Sisters and brothers, what are you doing? Chapter 28. The master-disciple relationship collapsed right from the start. Spring goes and autumn comes. Cold comes and summer goes. In the blink of an eye, 5 years have passed. The trio have all grown into 12-year-old boys and girls in their prime. 5 years. These 5 years are really too long for Zhang Tianyu. Now, I can finally trigger the new plot of Soto City. But before triggering the new plot, Zhang Tianyu feels it is necessary to take a look at his current attributes. Host, Zhang Tianyu. Level 37. Martial Soul. First Martial Soul. Huangquan. Unlocked the third Soul Ring. Second Martial Soul. Unlocked. Soul Bone. Golden Steed Iron Horse Ride on Bone. From the 100,000-year-old Soul Beast Golden Steed Iron Horse. With the skills. Breaking the Golden Steed. And 1000-mile Iron Horse. New Soul Bone unlocking degree 50%. Soul Guidance. None. Field. Huangquan 9 Nether Senluo Field. Self-created soul skills. None. Props. None. Gifts. None. Reward points. 3690. The second soul ring comes from the 42,300-year-old soul beast Earth Eagle, with the soul skill, Infinite Flying Sword, which can control Huangquan to attack others from a distance, or control Huangquan to fly with the sword. The third soul ring comes from the 55,780-year-old soul beast Moon Kirby, with the soul skill, Life Chasing Sword Key, which can display the sword energy that can track the enemy when waving Huangquan, and can be used with the Infinite Flying Sword to control and display it from a distance. Feeling these soul skills coming back one by one, this familiar feeling and the increase in strength made Zhang Tianyu feel more and more at ease. People live to pursue peace of mind. In this life, Zhang Tianyu changed his tactics and strategy. He did not do some small actions from time to time to torture Yu Xiaogang and Tang San like in the previous life. Instead, he only gave them a big one in some special occasions and situations. Because if they were tortured constantly, they would be alert like in the previous life, and would be on guard in secret. People can be unlucky, but they can't be unlucky all the time. Learning from the lessons of the previous life, this time Zhang Tianyu tried not to make the troubles he caused them so abrupt, but tried to make it traceable and find the cause. Even if the exact cause could not be found, they could know what was going on. In this way, their vigilance would be greatly reduced. However, this situation could not last too long, because some props were unreasonably strong, and it was impossible to find the cause of the prop effect in this plane. Zhang Tianyu could only try his best to do it. If he really couldn't do it, there was nothing he could do. However, the good news is that after 5 years, the system's preparations are finally coming to an end. That is, blocking Zhang Tianyu's aura. Any operation has a traceable path. Just like in the last life, no matter how careful and hidden Zhang Tianyu and the system were, he was still discovered by Douluo will and the gods as the mastermind behind the scenes. So this time, the system simply completely blocked Zhang Tianyu's aura, so that no matter what the situation, Douluo will and the gods would not find that the misfortune suffered by Yu Xiaogang and Tang San had anything to do with Zhang Tianyu, unless Zhang Tianyu himself wasted and killed himself. In the last life, Zhang Tianyu also thought that he might be discovered because he was too wasteful, but after thinking carefully, he remembered that, before he was wasteful, the gods had already discovered that he was behind the scenes. It was precisely because he had been discovered by the gods that he took the initiative to show up and knock on the gods to tell them not to act rashly, otherwise he could directly kill Tang San, and it was the kind of death that the gods could not resurrect. Retracting his thoughts, Zhang Tianyu sneered in his heart. This time, I won't make the same mistake. I really don't understand what the master is thinking. Xiao Wu, who has grown into a graceful and elegant lady on the streets of Soto City, looked puzzled and asked, there are so many good intermediate colleges that have invited us, but why did the master let us and come to such a college whose name he has never heard of? Zhang Tianyu thought nonsense. I also want to go to the Wuhan Hall Academy, and I also want to get to know Hulina and Bibidang in advance, but I can't. Under the premise that the Jianghu Function has not been unlocked yet. How can I trick Tang San and Yu Xiaogang if I stay away? Torturing these two people without leaving any trace is what I should do most now. Teacher, he must have his reasons for doing this. Although Yu Xiaogang only said that Tang San should go to Shrek Academy and didn't say that Zhang Tianyu and Xiao Wu should go together, Tang San was still very happy to have these two people together. What's the reason? If we weren't good friends, I wouldn't come here with you. Xiao Wu pouted and complained. In fact, what she wanted to say was that if Zhang Tianyu didn't plan to come here, she wouldn't come. The person she wanted to follow was Zhang Tianyu, not him. Tang San. Okay, drink some water. Let's find a place to eat something and rest. Zhang Tianyu took out a bottle of happy water and handed it to Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu smiled sweetly. Tianyu was still caring. The pedestrians on the road looked at these three people, all with surprised eyes. Zhang Tianyu is so handsome. Really, I have never seen such a handsome boy. Although he is still a young boy, along the way, from the plump mature women to the petite loli, when they saw Zhang Tianyu, none of them didn't have their eyes shining. Look at Xiao Wu standing next to Zhang Tianyu, lively and lovely, pink and tender, and a natural beauty. What a pair of golden boy and jade girl, handsome man and beautiful woman. As for the man following these two people, is he their servant? Or a follower? Anyway, he looks like a follower. I have to tell you in advance, San. Xiao Wu drank a few sips of happy water and exhaled a satisfied breath. If that college is ordinary or not very good, I won't stay here with you. As she said, she glanced at Zhang Tianyu, who nodded and said, well, it's not too late to take a look first. Tang San also nodded. That's right, although I believe in the teacher's words unconditionally. If it's too bad, even if the teacher guarantees it, I don't want to stay any longer. The three reached a consensus that there was nothing wrong. Zhang Tianyu was calm on the surface, but he was a little confused in his heart. Good guy. It seems that after the incident in the soul hunting forest when Tang San's soul skills went out of control, Yu Xiaogang's prestige in Tang San's eyes has been greatly reduced. In the past, no matter what Yu Xiaogang said, or what he asked Tang San to do, even if it seemed to have no benefit or even disadvantage, Tang San would do it without hesitation, and would not have the slightest doubt. But now, he can actually say, even if Yu Xiaogang guarantees, he will not stay any longer. Wonderful. Wonderful. There was a faint crack between the master and the apprentice right from the start. Hehe, it seems to be more fun this time. Chapter 29. Where did this monster come from? Exclamation mark. Rose Hotel. Zhang Tianyu looked up at the magnificent building in front of him, which was full of luxury and ambiguity. He was calm on the surface, and in his heart, the things in the main storyline cannot be avoided. Stepping into the hotel, Zhang Tianyu was like a game player, quietly following the storyline, waiting for the next victim, or the next main character to appear. Sorry, we only have one room left. Looking at the three boys and girls in front of him, the waiter was shocked. This boy is so handsome. Even more handsome than me. This girl is so cute. She can be ranked in the top 3 among all the women I have ever seen. And this boy. So. What? Only one room left? Zhang Tianyu read. The waiter said, yes, there is only one room left. But the rooms here are quite big, more than enough for 2 people. Tang San. When you said 2 people live together, why did you only look at Xiao Wu and Tianyu? Why didn't you look at me? Could it be that I was kicked out? But think about it, Xiao Wu is a girl, it's impossible to kick her out and let her find a place to live alone, and it won't sound good if 2 men and 1 woman live in one room. Just when Tang San was thinking this, Xiao Wu and Zhang Tianyu turned around and looked at him after hearing what the waiter said. Tang San. Then I'll find another place to live. Xiao Wu and Zhang Tianyu showed a relieved expression at the same time and gave him a look that said you are so sensible. Okay, come and tell us when you find it. Zhang Tianyu said. Tang San nodded and turned to walk out. After he left, the waiter began to check in the 2 of them. At this moment, Daimyu Bei appeared with his arms around the twins. I say, this room should belong to me. Xiao Wu and Zhang Tianyu turned around and saw Daimyu Bei walking over with his arms around the twins. Zhang Xianyu felt resentful when he saw the twins. In his previous life, the system said that it would also give Zhang Xianyu a task that could reward him with twins, but he didn't see this task until the reset. Hint, activate the task, I also have twins. Task objective, defeat Zimao Bei Hu Daimyu Bei, no limit on the method, no limit on the means. Task reward, a random pair of twins. Zhang Xianyu was full of excitement when he heard the task reward, but his heart immediately calmed down the next second. Just one pair? Didn't you say 5 pairs? Hint, take your time, there will be more later. Zhang Xianyu was speechless. Damn, this task reward has to be paid in installments? Oh, that's right. Haven't there been percentage-based task rewards such as activation and acquisition for a long time? System, you didn't learn your lesson. After coming to the human world, you learned this kind of 20th game reward mechanism. It's really sad. Daimyu Bei hugged the twins and walked past Zhang Xianyu and Xiao Wu, and then a confused expression appeared on his face. Where did this handsome guy come from? He is so handsome, more handsome than me. This is impossible. The twins also showed a surprised expression on their faces, and they threw a wink at Zhang Xianyu. A handsome boy with this appearance, even for free. Daimyu Bei was a member of the royal family after all, so he quickly calmed down and came to the counter to ask the waiter, "You are new here, right? Don't you know that there is always a room reserved for me here?" The waiter was stunned for a moment and asked tentatively, "Who are you?" Daimyu Bei said impatiently, "Ask your manager to come out." No need. Zhang Xianyu took the key from the waiter's hand directly. The rules of the underworld are first come first served, and we wanted this room first. Daimyu Bei looked at him and sneered. Then there is another rule in the underworld, which is that the one with the bigger fist has the final say. Do you know? So, you are very brave? You have a big fist? Zhang Xianyu also sneered. Hearing this, Daimyu Bei's eyes suddenly became more interested. Whether your fist is big or not, you will know if you try it. As soon as the voice fell, a powerful momentum burst out from his body. Xiao Wu frowned immediately, and this momentum was much stronger than hers. This lecher in front of him turned out to be a soul master. Okay, you'll die if you try. Zhang Xianyu stretched his neck. As soon as he finished speaking, the manager, who was sweating profusely, ran out in a hurry. "Mr. Day, calm down. Let's talk it over. Let's talk it over. Don't do anything." Daimyu Bei waved his hand. "No need to talk nonsense. This kid has aroused my interest today. Manager Wang, please get out of the way. I'll pay for the damage." "So, you are very rich?" Zhang Xianyu asked knowingly. "Then let's add some prizes. If you lose, give me 100,000 gold soul coins." Daimyu Bei laughed. 100,000 gold soul coins are really nothing to him. "Okay, what if you lose? You say, be my little brother in the future and do whatever I tell you to do." Daimyu Bei said. "Okay, come on." As soon as the word "come" fell, Daimyu Bei suddenly flew into the air with the fierce momentum of a tiger descending from the mountain and punched Zhang Xianyu in the face. After years of sparring in his previous life, Zhang Xianyu had already figured out his fighting style. He dodged the punch with muscle memory the moment it came at him, and then kicked Daimyu Bei in the stomach. Daimyu Bei groaned and fell out. Xiao Wu, who was standing by, frowned slightly. As a bystander, she saw it very clearly. Zhang Xianyu had dodged the moment Daimyu Bei launched the attack, as if Zhang Xianyu could predict Daimyu Bei's moves. Then she thought of the scenes when she and Zhang Xianyu had sparred over the years, and it was the same. Every time she attacked, Zhang Xianyu could easily dodge it, as if he had predicted it in advance. What's going on? What's the principle? Could it be that Xianyu can predict other people's attacks? After Daimyu Bei landed, he activated his martial soul and revealed 3 soul rings. "It seems that I underestimated you. Let's fight for real." Daimyu Bei, martial soul, white tiger, 37th level fighting soul master. "Please teach me." Zhang Xianyu opened his hands, and Huangquan with a wisp of black hair appeared in front of his chest. At the same time, in Daimyu Bei's shocked eyes, the same 3 soul rings appeared around Zhang Xianyu's body. Zhang Xianyu, martial soul, Huangquan, 37th level fighting soul master. "Please teach me." Daimyu Bei felt a bang in his head, as if struck by lightning. Never expected it! Exclamation mark. This kid who is several years younger than him is actually a soul master, and he is at the same level as him, and his soul ring configuration is also the same yellow, and purple. Damn, where did this monster come from? Exclamation mark. Chapter 30 Gentleman Zhang Xianyu. Seeing this scene, not only Dame Yu Bei, but everyone else was stunned. Manager Wan was quite familiar with Dame Yu Bei, and knew that he was only 15 or 16 years old. A soul master of 15 or 16 years old could already be called a genius. The young man standing opposite Dame Yu Bei was at least 2 or 3 years younger than Dame Yu Bei, but he was also a soul master, and his level was the same as Dame Yu Bei. If Dame Yu Bei was a genius, then what was this guy? A top genius? A super genius? Xiao Wu was very satisfied with their reactions, and raised her chin with some pride. In her opinion, Zhang Xianyu was as good as she was. I didn't expect it. Dame Yu Bei laughed after being shocked, with a strange glow in his eyes. I didn't expect you to be a soul master of such a young age. It's unbelievable. At this time, he probably guessed that Zhang Xianyu would sign up for Shrek next. Just like in the original plot, when Tang San fought with Dame Yu Bei had already guessed that Tang San was going to sign up for Shrek. Therefore, the way Dame Yu Bei looks at Zhang Xianyu now is almost the same as the way he looks at his junior. This junior has a pleasing appearance, amazing talent, and strong strength. The more Dame Yu Bei looks at him, the more he feels that this junior is a tough guy. So you want to admit defeat? Zhang Xianyu asked. Dame Yu Bei almost choked. Is there anyone who talks like this? I praised you for being awesome, but you didn't show some modesty or praise me back, but ask me directly if I admit defeat. Okay, just for your language skills, I must fight you to the death today. Admit defeat. Dame Yu Bei laughed. In my dictionary, Dame Yu Bei, there are only wins and losses, not admit defeat. Come on. As soon as the word bar fell, Zhang Xianyu waved his hand, and a black light directly cut through the void and flew past. Everyone, including Xiao Wu and Dame Yu Bei, only felt a flash before their eyes, and a black light flashed by, and then a long sword with a completely black body appeared on Dame Yu Bei's neck. When the long sword appeared on Dame Yu Bei's neck, Zhang Xianyu's second soul ring had just lit up, which shows how fast the sword was. This is Zhang Xianyu's second soul skill, Wuji Flying Sword, which can control Huang Quan to attack from a distance, so fast that a soul master can't react at all. The speed of flying with a sword can be so fast, or even faster, as long as Zhang Xianyu can control it. The long sword continued to emit a dark cold air, which made Dame Yu Bei's body covered with goosebumps. Although the blade of the long sword did not touch his skin, he still felt a tingling sensation, as if his neck had been cut open. So, do you admit defeat now? Zhang Xianyu asked. Dame Yu Bei. He admired the speed of the attack just now, but he hated Zhang Xianyu's words a little bit. Didn't you just win a game against me? So arrogant? If it weren't for the fact that you are my junior, I wouldn't let you go like this. Dame Yu Bei took a deep breath and released his spirit. Zhang Xianyu also took back Huang Quan. Dame Yu Bei said, was that your second spirit skill just now? It was so fast, really fast. It's unimaginable that a soul master can have such speed as yours. Thank you for the compliment. Zhang Xianyu said politely. Dame Yu Bei was somewhat relieved. This kid finally knew how to be polite. Then he saw Zhang Xianyu stretch out a few fingers and rub them together. This was clearly a gesture to ask for money. Dame Yu Bei. He took out a gold card and handed it to Zhang Xianyu. There are 50,000 in it. I'll have someone send the remaining 50,000 to you later. Zhang Xianyu smiled and said, okay, thank you. Remember to find me first when you want to find someone to gamble next time. Dame Yu Bei was so angry. I have money, so you have to rely on me alone to make it? Damn boy. Dame Yu Bei didn't say anything else. He hugged the twins and left quickly. When the twins walked out of the hotel door, they looked back at Zhang Xianyu, intending to give him a few more flirtatious glances, but they found that Zhang Xianyu had already turned around and stopped looking at them. TSK, so boring. Zhang Xianyu, what's the point of looking at you? I already have twins now. and looking at you can only satisfy my curiosity, but I will be scolded by Xiao Wu, so I'll just look at you. Hint, congratulations. I also have twins. Mission completed. Randomly selecting twins. The selection is complete and has been distributed to the system space. Please check it yourself. Zhang Tianyu? Aren't these twins human? How can people be stored in the system space? Humanoid weapons? Humanoid self-propelled soul guides? Is it so outrageous? He wanted to open the system space to take a look, but he couldn't do that now. Xiao Wu and Manager Wang were all looking at him eagerly, so he said to Manager Wang, nothing to say now, right? Yes, please come this way. Manager Wang hurriedly nodded and bowed respectfully. Being able to defeat Daimyo Bei in an instant, and now being so rich, this young man is incredible, and must be served well. On the top floor of the hotel, the Red Ocean Suite. Wow. This room is so beautifully decorated, I find that I have fallen in love with it. Xiaogang, can we come here often in the future? Zhang Tianyu said indifferently, okay, if you like, we can come here often. Anyway, with the money Daimyo Bei gave us, it is enough for us to live here. This Red Ocean Suite is a more luxurious suite in this hotel. The price for one day is 10 gold soul coins. In the original plot, this suite was booked by Daimyo Bei for a long time. Daimyo Bei just lost 100,000 gold soul coins to him. According to this price, he can live here for 10,000 days. Moreover, as a soul master, he has a monthly subsidy of 100 gold soul coins, so he is not short of money for the time being. Yeah, I knew you were the best. Xiao Wu cheered and jumped onto the bed like a rabbit, rolling around happily on it. Wow, this bed is so big and comfortable. It's really elastic. Come on, Tianyu, come on. Xiao Wu called out while rolling around. TSK, you're a girl, how can you be so loud and noisy? Zhang Tianyu said righteously, then took off his coat and jumped onto the bed. How dare you say that to me? Xiao Wu frowned and pounced on Zhang Tianyu with her teeth and claws bared. Wait a minute, Xiao Wu. Slow down. Hiss, wait a minute. I can't take it anymore. Xiao Wu rode on Zhang Tianyu's back and pressed him under her. Are you admitting defeat? See if you dare to say that to me again in the future. Okay, you win. Get off quickly, my waist. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 31, Twin Sisters of Ice and Fire. Chapter 31, Twins, Ice and Fire Sisters. After dealing with Xiao Wu, Zhang Tianyu finally had time to open the system space while watching her lying there resting. Full of expectations. The twin reward that he had waited for 2 lifetimes was finally here. Zhang Tianyu kept repeating in his heart, it must not be a man. Swish. He suddenly opened the system space and saw an icon consisting of 2 figures lying quietly in the inventory. Zhang Tianyu suppressed his excitement and clicked. Congratulations on obtaining the Twin Soul Masters, Song of Ice and Fire. Swish. An attribute table suddenly appeared in Zhang Tianyu's mind. Song of Ice and Fire, Twin Sister Soul Masters. The elder sister Hangai has the fire attribute, Scarlet Queen, Martial Soul, and the younger sister Lanyu has the ice attribute, Azure Rose, Martial Soul. Age, the same age as the host. Level, increases with the increase of the host's level, but will be 2 levels lower than the host. Soul skills, automatically matched by the system. Martial Soul Fusion Skill, Song of Ice and Fire. Fuck. Zhang Tianyu could only shout fuck. This is so awesome. It's really a humanoid plugin. She is the same age as him, but her soul power level is only 1 level lower than his. The soul skills are automatically matched by the system. Needless to say, they can definitely match the best soul skills. They even have martial soul fusion skills. Damn, it feels like the combat power of these 2 people should be higher than his. That's unlikely, said the system. The host's strength will always be invincible in the same level. Even the martial soul fusion skills of these 2 sisters are definitely not your opponent. Zhang Xiaogang glanced at Xiao Wu, who was looking happy on the side, and stood up and said, "I'm going out for a while." "Where are you going?" Xiao Wu asked immediately. "Are you going out shopping?" "I'll go too." "What shopping?" "I'm going to wait for Damu Bei's people to send money. After he sends the money, I'll take you out shopping and eating delicious food." Okay, Xiaogang is the best, go. Xiao Wu said, lying comfortably on the bed, shaking her two white and tender legs. Zhang Xiaogang shrugged. This girl was really lively, optimistic, and cheerful. Coincidentally, when I arrived at the hotel lobby, I saw a errand boy at the front desk asking, "Excuse me, where does the guest named Zhang Xiaogang live?" The waiter was about to speak when he saw Zhang Xiaogang coming down and said, "This is him." The errand boy walked up to Zhang Xiaogang, looked him up and down, and said respectfully, "You are Zhang Xiaogang, right? This is what Mr. Day asked me to give you. Please check it." Zhang Xiaogang took the gold card and let the system scan it. After confirming that there was no problem, he took out a gold soul coin from his wallet and threw it to the boy, saying to him, "Okay, you can go." "Okay, thank you." The boy took the money and left happily. Zhang Xiaogang also left the hotel and came to a secluded alley not far away. After getting the twins, there was an additional attribute in his attribute list: servants, ice, and fire sisters. Zhang Xiaogang took a deep breath. Don't be a dinosaur. Don't be a dinosaur. Don't be a dinosaur. Summon. Bang. The light flashed, and a pair of pretty figures appeared in front of Zhang Xiaogang. The light quickly dissipated, and Zhang Xiaogang suddenly widened his eyes in amazement. Ah. Great. Not a dinosaur. Not only are they not dinosaurs, but they are also two beauties. Both of them are easy to recognize. Sister Hangai looks more mature and charming, with delicate features, beautiful face, and hot red lips. She is completely a mature queen. Wearing a fiery red slim-fitting red flame robe, she is tall and proud. The slender and round thighs are wrapped in a black silk depicting flames, plump and mature like a ripe peach. Looking at this mature and plump figure, Zhang Xiaogang expressed great confusion. Is this really the same age as me? But thinking about Zhu Zuking, he was relieved. Zhu Zuking is 1 year younger than him, and she is so plump. Hangai is 1 year older than Zhu Zuking, and it is reasonable for her to be a little plumper than Zhu Zuking. That's right, even Zhu Zuking, who is famous for her hugeness, can't compare to Hangai. In comparison, the younger sister Lan Yu is not so outrageous. Lan Yu has the temperament of an iceberg cold girl, and her face is also very beautiful, not inferior to her sister at all. Her figure is also good, but far less exaggerated than her sister. Under the slim black ice robe and the white silk embroidered with cloud patterns, although she is not very big and tall and proud, she has a thin waist and long legs, and a perfect proportion. The two girls looked at Zhang Xiaogang with beautiful eyes, and then bowed together. Hangyu/Lan Yu, meet the master. Oh, this little voice. As expected, just as Zhang Xiaogang imagined, Hangyu has a mature and royal sister voice, and Lan Yu has an iceberg cold voice, each with its own merits and characteristics. Okay, no need to be polite. Is the host satisfied? Of course. Zhang Xiaogang was quite satisfied, very satisfied. But there is a question. Zhang Xiaogang asked, will they stay in the system inventory in the future? No need to find a place to live? The system replied, you can find a place for them to live. If it is troublesome, you can also take them back to the inventory. The decision is up to you. Zhang Xiaogang thought about it, took out a bag of gold soul coins, and handed them to them. Here are 500 gold soul coins. You can find a better hotel to stay. When I finish my enrollment, I will find time to come to you. Thank you, master. The two sisters immediately showed happy expressions. Although it is a special, human plugin, although you can live in the inventory, but living in the inventory is not as comfortable as living in the colorful world outside. Looking at the two people's faces with expressions of wanting to commit their bodies, Zhang Xiaogang, a gentleman, almost lived in Bengbu. Okay, find a place to live, and I will contact you through the system if I need anything. Okay, master. Awaiting your orders at any time. After they walked out of the alley and came to the street, they immediately attracted the attention of countless passers-by. What beautiful twin sisters. Zhang Xiaogang stretched out his hand and pinched his chin. Can we let them go to the fighting arena to compete next? Very good. Not only can we exercise their actual combat ability, but we can also make money. Moreover, if they encounter any danger, we can directly take them back to the inventory to protect their safety. Great. Let's do it. He walked while thinking. As soon as he walked to the hotel lobby, he saw Xiao Wu waiting on the sofa in the lobby. Why did you take so long? Does it take so long for someone to send money? Xiao Wu said, I'm hungry. Okay, sister. Zhang Xiaogang took out the gold card and shook it. Come on, brother will take you to eat spicy hot pot. The system was immediately alerted. 6 yuan? Shut up. Zhang Xiaogang said in his heart. Chapter 32 Li Yusong finally succeeded in pretending to be cool. 2 days later, in the morning, outside a small village located in the woods outside Soto City, many people lined up in a long queue. This is where Shrek Academy is located. Half of the area of this village is the residence of Shrek Academy, and the other half is the area where villagers gather. Because Shrek Academy claims that, as long as you graduate here, you can at least get the title of Viscount. There are many people who come here to register. And most of those who can come here to register are those so-called geniuses who are pampered. Therefore, when they see the dilapidated place and the simple dressed villagers who appear from time to time not far away, their faces all show a sense of superiority and contempt. I didn't expect that there are so many people lining up here. Xiao Wu was a little surprised. This means that maybe the student the teacher is talking about is not bad. Tang San said. Xiao Wu looked at the crooked word Shrek Academy written on the dilapidated wooden sign in front of her and curled her lips. Not bad at all. Let alone anything else. The intermediate college in the city next to Notting City is the worst among all the colleges that invited them, and it looks countless times better than this college. Not to mention the intermediate college. Even the junior college Notting College is much larger than this one. Are they really in the right place? Is this really not a den of money swindling swindlers? She wanted to say something, but when she looked up, she saw Zhang Xiaogang carefully scanning the queue, and she swallowed the words on her lips. Zhang Xiaogang glanced at Xiao Wu and said, let's go to the queue. Since we are here, let's take a look first. He has successfully found Ning Rangrang's trace in the team. ZHU Zhu hasn't come yet. According to the time, she has to wait until they pass the test and enter the college before she can appear. Xiao Wu showed a resigned expression and followed. At this moment, a middle-aged man suddenly shouted angrily from the front of the team, you are clearly trying to cheat us out of money. Xiao Wu and Tang San were stunned, but what confused them even more was yet to come. Zhang Xiaogang and the middle-aged man continued to say in unison, refund our registration fee, or we won't leave. If we had known that this so-called Shrek Academy was so shabby, we shouldn't have come. They looked at Zhang Xiaogang standing beside them in surprise. What the hell? ? These few words Zhang Xiaogang said were exactly the same as those said by the middle-aged man! ! Zhang Xiaogang, can you really predict the future? Xiaogang. Xiao Wu and Tang San were dumbfounded. How did you know he was going to say this? And it was exactly the same word for word. Even the tone was almost exactly the same. Zhang Xiaogang shrugged. I just heard someone say something similar. I didn't expect it to be right. Tang San nodded. I see. Xiao Wu's doubts became even more serious. Not only can you predict other people's attacks, but you can even predict what others say in advance. Xiaogang, what special abilities do you have? The noise continued. Li Yusong, the teacher in charge of the test, glanced at the middle-aged man and said impatiently, don't disturb the people behind you. Don't you know the rules of the academy? We only accept children under 13 years old. No one over 13 will be accepted. You can leave. The middle-aged man was even more furious and shouted on the spot, RNM, give us back the money. Are you worthy of us waiting for so long? Are you worthy of us? Give us back the money. Li Yusong was very calm and said calmly, Mubei, someone wants to return the registration fee, you deal with it. On the ground next to him, a figure suddenly jumped up. It was Daimyu Bei. You want to return the registration fee, but if you beat me, I will return it in full. As soon as the 3 soul rings appeared, the middle-aged man's arrogance was extinguished immediately. The middle-aged man left a sentence, "It's our bad luck," then pulled his son and turned away. Although Daimyu Bei looked fierce, his eyes were filled with deep helplessness. Obviously, as a prince, he was a little unhappy to be doing the work of a thug. But there was no way. The teacher had spoken, and he had to give face to the teacher. After this farce, the number of people in the queue immediately decreased by 1/3. Zhang Tianyu shook his head secretly. Shrek Academy, no matter how many times it was reset, always had this kind of bandit style. Soon it was the turn of the next family of 3. The son was 12 years old, qualified for age, and his first soul ring was also 100 years old. But because he did not reach level 21, he was eliminated again. My son is a top student in the junior college. Didn't you see that his spirit ring is 100 years old? There are not many spirit masters with a 100-year spirit ring. Why is he not qualified? Li Yusong stood up and said loudly, "To register for our Shrek Academy, you should know the rules first. If you come here without knowing it, you will just give away the registration fee in vain. It's not too late to regret it now. Do you know the meaning of Shrek in the name of Shrek Academy? We only accept monsters here, not ordinary people. Those who are over 13 years old, or whose spirit power has not reached level 21 or above, don't waste your time here." After speaking, Li Yusong burst out with a terrifying momentum, and the dragon pattern stick appeared, and 6 spirit rings overflowed from his body. Except for Zhang Tianyu and Daimyu Bei, almost everyone was shocked. Unexpectedly, this ugly old man who looked like a farmer was actually a spirit emperor. This powerful weapon spirit aura instantly suppressed the whole audience, and everyone felt a sense of difficulty breathing. In the previous life, after this aura appeared, Huang Quan suddenly jumped up on the spot, directly releasing the aura of death, to defeat the aura of the dragon pattern stick. Not to mention, that Li Yusong was shocked. It even alarmed Zhao Wuji and other teachers in the academy. In this life, Zhang Tianyu had already explained to Huang Quan that he must be low-key. Seeing that everyone was shocked, Li Yusong was very satisfied to take back his martial spirit and spirit ring, and said lazily, "Next." Zhao Wu's eyes were bright. "It seems that this academy is not as bad as it looks. It seems to be interesting." Tang San also nodded and said, "Well, it seems that the teacher's instructions are correct. This Shrek Academy is definitely not ordinary." Zhang Tianyu nodded. "Nonsense. As long as you and Yu Xiaogang are here, it is definitely not ordinary. P.S. Inexplicably Yang. Very painful. I don't know how Yang. Now I cough and have phlegm, my throat hurts, and my head is buzzing. Oh, shit, I even had hallucinations when writing a book, and found that the words on the screen are getting fewer and fewer. I worked so hard to type these out one by one. Ahem. In short, everyone please take care of your health and protect yourself. It's too uncomfortable to be impotent." Chapter 33 Daimyu Lu, stop looking, ZHU's Yuking is mine. The number of applicants dropped sharply, and soon, Ning Rangrang came to Li Yusong. Looking at Ning Rangrang in front of him, Li Yusong felt a little annoyed. "Hiss, do your family know that you are here?" Ning Rangrang smiled softly like an angel, and said softly, "It is said that there is no distinction between people in education. As long as I meet the requirements of the academy, you have no reason not to accept me." Li Yusong hesitated for a moment, then waved to Daimyu Bei and said, "Take her in." Daimyu Bei took Ning Rangrang into the academy, and then sent in several waves of qualified students. The team continued to move forward. Daimyu Bei also discovered Zhang Tianyu's existence at this time. His eyes suddenly lit up, revealing a kind smile, and nodded politely at Zhang Tianyu. Of course, Zhang Tianyu also politely returned the gift for the sake of the 100,000 kilograms of soul coins. Just when the team finally came to Zhang Tianyu's side, Daimyu Bei looked behind Zhang Tianyu and his eyes suddenly opened. Tang San and Zhao Wu were attracted by his gaze and looked back. Zhang Tianyu knew without looking back that it was ZHU's Yuking. Sure enough, after seeing ZHU's Yuking, Zhao Wu and Tang San were both stunned. not to mention Tang San. Even Xiao Wu, who was also a girl, was stunned. The reason was simple, it was too big. Xiao Wu looked at Zhu's Yuking, then looked down at her own, and suddenly felt a little inferior. However, when she found that Zhang Xianyu just looked back, without any fluctuations in his eyes and expression, she suddenly felt beautiful. Xianyu was still good, and would not be deceived by the appearance of this enchanting J-good. Look at Tang San next to him, his eyes were straight, it was really bad. Zhu's Yuking noticed these looks, and she had long been accustomed to them. These stinky men have nothing but those messy and dirty things in their minds. It is really difficult to find a pure and clean man in this world. Although she also noticed that Zhang Xianyu only glanced at her and then looked away without any fluctuation in her eyes, this was just a disguise. That was all the man kept repeating. Li Yusong looked up at Zhang Xianyu, a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Well, this young man is very energetic, handsome, and extraordinary, not bad. Stretch out your hand. Zhang Xianyu stretched out his hand. Li Yusong touched it, and was stunned. His eyes widened instantly. The next second, whoosh, he stood up in an instant, looked at Zhang Xianyu with an expression of disbelief on his face, and shouted, "Soul Lord?" This voice was very loud, and instantly attracted the attention of everyone present, including Zhu's Yuking. Daimyo Bei smiled with relief. He knew that Zhang Xianyu's appearance would definitely surprise Teacher Li. Soul Master? Oh my god. Is this true? He is about the same age as us, but he is actually a Soul Master? This is impossible. If this is true, it is too terrifying. Is this a monster? This is really a monster. The whispers of others came, and Zhu's Yuking's attention was completely attracted to Zhang Xianyu. She looked at Zhang Xianyu with her beautiful eyes. She didn't expect that this boy who looked pretty good was actually a soul master. How is this possible? This surging soul power. It can't be wrong. It can't be wrong. Li Yusong was so excited that he was shaking a little. A 12-year-old soul master. What the hell is this concept? This can be said to be the youngest soul master in history. Generally speaking, he can only pinch his hands and legs to get the bone age to determine whether his age meets the admission standards, but the soul power in Zhang Xianyu's body is too surging, and Zhang Xianyu didn't intend to hide it, so he showed it directly outside. So Li Yusong could feel it immediately when he pinched his bone age. Quick, show me your martial spirit and spirit rings, Li Yusong said excitedly. Zhang Xianyu nodded and opened his hands. Huangquan, which exuded a black death aura, appeared silently in front of Zhang Xianyu's chest and floated quietly. At the same time, the 3 spirit rings of yellow, and purple, which had been disguised by the system, overflowed from Zhang Xianyu's body and floated up and down. Wow. There were exclamations from all around. Strength is the best pass. These 3 spirit rings are the ironclad evidence of strength. Now, no one will doubt Zhang Xianyu's soul master level anymore. Really? It's really a soul master. Oh my god. So amazing. So strong. How could there be such a young soul master? And he's so handsome. Oh my god. I'm dying. I want a boyfriend like this. Genius. Genius. This is an absolute super genius. Super genius. In the eyes of the parents who came to register around, their children were geniuses, super geniuses, but compared with the soul master in front of them, their children were simply garbage. At this moment, Zhu's Yuking was truly convinced that the handsome boy in front of her was indeed a soul master. So powerful. Her girlish heart was deeply shocked. Could it be that the calm look he gave me just now was not a disguise, but that he really didn't like women and only wanted to practice and become stronger? It's possible. It's very likely. Only people who are focused and only want to practice and become stronger can achieve such strength at such a young age. Compared with him, Daimyo Bei is far behind. Daimyo Bei is several years older than him, but he is only a soul master. Do you want to enroll in our college? After asking this question, Li Yusong regretted it. Why the hell am I asking this when I have nothing to do? People came here from afar and queued for so long. They must want to enroll. What if he regrets it after I ask this? No. Now that he is here, he is not allowed to regret it. If he dares to regret it, I will personally take action to keep him. Zhang Xianyu's answer made Li Yusong feel relieved. Yes, teacher, I want to enroll in Shrek. Very good. Li Yusong stood up. I welcome you on behalf of the academy. This is the first student that Li Yusong has welcomed so far. Thank you, teacher. It's my two companions' turn next. Li Yusong sat down, full of joy. With such a powerful monster enrolling this year, other teachers would probably wake up laughing in their dreams. Douluo and Tang San, who followed naturally, also passed. The blue-silver grass shocked Li Yusong a little, but in front of Zhang Xianyu, the Soul Master, these can only be regarded as small scenes. Come on, Mu Bei, take them in quickly, Li Yusong said anxiously. Tang San and Douluo are fine, but this Zhang Xianyu must be kept. He must be admitted quickly, otherwise, other academies may come to snatch him away if they know. Come on. Mu Bei was also very happy. Being able to be a classmate with a monster like Zhang Xianyu is beneficial to improving strength. I knew you would pass it. I guess you won't have any problems with the following exams. Mu Bei said, looking back. Lu, what are you looking at? Zhu's Yuking is mine. Chapter 34. Oscar got a heat stroke. Trick him. Douluo noticed Mu Bei's gaze and asked, I noticed that you seem to have been staring at the girl behind you. What's wrong? Do you want to harm her again? Mu Bei frowned instinctively, then subconsciously glanced at Zhang Xianyu, and then patiently explained, don't talk nonsense. What do you mean by harming her? I just feel that her martial spirit aura is very similar to mine, and there is a feeling of mutual complementation. So, the martial spirit of that girl should be a tigress? Mu Bei smiled awkwardly. Maybe. When they came to the team for the second test, Ningrangrang was already queuing up. Mu Bei said, wait here for a while, I'll go out and take a look, and I'll be back soon. Mu Bei left quickly, and Oscar came with the cart. As soon as he left, sausages for sale. Oscar brand sausages, delicious and sweet, cheap and large in quantity. Only 5 copper coins each. Eating Oscar brand sausages will make it easier for you to pass the entrance exam. Several people took a look, but did not buy them, because they had all eaten in the morning. After shouting for a few times, Oscar was immediately dejected, and hung his head in a listless manner, when he saw that no one was interested. Look at this Oscar, he is so lame. He is obviously an auxiliary spirit master, but he is so listless, and looks like he has a heat stroke. So why don't we trick him? Hint, activate the task, go home and have a look at the sausages. Task requirements, trick Oscar once, no limit on the method, no limit on the means, no limit on the consequences, and you cannot expose yourself. Task reward, reward points plus 50. Because Oscar's sausages have no taste, in order to sell them, he specially made such a sausage grilling cart, which has a volcanic stone oven, and sprinkles spices while grilling, so that the sausages will be fragrant and rosy, and will be fascinating. Alas, my grilled sausage is so delicious, fragrant, and rosy. I use the most authentic volcanic stone, and grill it slowly over low heat, but why doesn't anyone buy it? Oscar sat next to the sausage cart, and looked back at the steaming sausages in the sausage cart. The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. Zhang Xianyu silently raised his hand, hid his hand in his sleeve, pointed it in the direction of Oscar, and flicked his finger calmly. Hint, prop, concentrated essence, used successfully. At this time, Mu Bei led Zhu's Yuking here. Just as he was about to say hello to Zhang Xianyu and others, he looked up and saw Oscar, and the smile on his face rose. Then he strode to Oscar, and said in a deep voice, you are really embarrassing the college. I seem to have warned you more than once not to sell sausages in the college. Do you want everyone to vomit? Oscar's face turned pale. Boss Day, didn't I just want to come out, to see the younger students? Look, younger students, why are you pushing a cart out to sea? You don't even shave, like an old man. What, do you want everyone to see you, an old man pushing a cart? Puff. Zhang Xianyu couldn't help laughing. Damn, Mu Bei's words are sometimes quite interesting. Is the old man pushing the cart okay? Oscar looked embarrassed. At this time, Douluo asked curiously, why don't you let him sell it? What does it mean to make everyone vomit? I smell that this sausage is very fragrant. Dame Yubei shrugged and said to Oscar, "See." The junior sister asked, "Make a sausage for the juniors to see." Oscar was even more embarrassed. Boss Day, let's not do it now. So many people are watching." Dame Yubei glared. "Hey, you also know how to embarrass yourself. Hurry up." Oscar was about to speak. His face suddenly changed. Oh no. Suddenly, another strong gas condensed. Can't hold it back. Puff. Two light sounds. Everyone was stunned for a moment, and the next second they all covered their noses and looked at Oscar with disgust. Dame Yubei pinched his eyebrows and shook his head. "You are really embarrassing the college." However, things are far from over. Zhang Tianyu is going to do something interesting now. How boring is it to just fart? There will be a chain reaction next. As soon as Dame Yubei finished speaking, before Oscar could speak, in the sausage cart behind him, whoosh, a fierce flame suddenly jumped up. What is concentrated essence? This is the concentrated essence. As we all know, farts are flammable, and the combustion efficiency is very high. The concentrated essence, can be used to select a certain thing in the human or animal body, and condense it into essence to discharge. If the concentrated thing is blood, then what is discharged is essence blood, and if the concentrated thing is fart, then what is discharged is naturally a high concentration of flammable gas. Oscar's position happened to be facing his back to the sausage cart, and the position below his waist was facing the exhaust hole of the volcanic stone oven for grilling sausages. So, at this moment, the flames in the sausage cart soared more than 2 meters high. Dame Yubei, Zhang Tianyu and others were so scared that they immediately moved away. Wow. What a fierce flame. Is this a fire type soul master? In an instant, everyone else in line exclaimed in admiration. Oscar didn't react at all. When he reacted, the air was already filled with the smell of burning. He turned around and looked at the grill. Oh no, my sausages. The flames just now were so fierce that all his sausages had been burned to charcoal. No. My lovely big fragrant sausages. No. However, the moment he turned around and looked at the sausage cart, the air at the scene suddenly became quiet. Everyone stared blankly at the back of Oscar's head, where a large area had been burned bald. Almost all the hair on the back of his head was burned. Now it has become pitch black. Puff. The first person who couldn't hold it back was none other than Ning-Rang-Rang. Xiao Wu was the second one who couldn't hold it back and also laughed. Afterwards, more and more people stopped, and they laughed like bubbles one after another. Tip, congratulations. Go home to have a look. Mission completed. Mission reward points plus 50. Hearing these laughs, Oscar turned around and looked at everyone. What are you laughing at? Dame Yubei was still his good brother after all. He walked up to him and said with a smile, "Reach out and touch the back of your head." Oscar reached out and touched it, and his face suddenly changed. My hairstyle. My handsome hairstyle. No. With a series of screams, Oscar held back his tears and ran away. Looking at Oscar, who was fleeing all the way, Zhang Tianyu didn't feel sorry for him, because he and Tang San were the same type of people, also very insidious and cunning, and good at calculating. Many people think Oscar is a dog licker, but will a dog licker say to a goddess, "You are not the type I like. You are not the tree that can make me give up the whole forest." This kind of words? Chapter 35. Oscar, the cunning villain. A real bootlicker is irrational and brainless. A real bootlicker will do whatever the goddess asks him to do. If Oscar is a real bootlicker, then in the original plot, when Ning-Rang-Rang asked him to help her deal with Dame Yubei, he would definitely agree without hesitation. But he didn't agree, but said some sober words, and finally left the goddess and left. Is this the behavior of a bootlicker? Will he still be a bootlicker after being sober? Will a bootlicker leave the goddess? In the original plot, everyone thought that Ning-Rang-Rang had trained Oscar, but in fact, Ning-Rang-Rang was on the first level, and those who thought Ning-Rang-Rang trained Oscar were also on the first level, but Oscar was in the atmosphere. In fact, Oscar trained Ning-Rang-Rang. After experiencing the conflict between Ning-Rang-Rang and Dame Yubei, Ning-Rang-Rang really began to change her witch nature, so who finally trained Ning-Rang-Rang to change her witch nature? If Oscar had not said those sober words in the end, but helped Ning-Rang-Rang, then Ning-Rang-Rang would not have changed. In the first generation of Douluo continent, Oscar is the smartest, the best at picking up girls, and the most intelligent person. If Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking's status is higher than Ning Rangrong, then Oscar will most likely not pursue Ning Rangrong. Isn't it simple for him to find a girlfriend? The original plot clearly stated that he had more than one girlfriend. The previous ones were just for fun. It is the right way to get close to the Seven Treasures glazed sect. Therefore, in the entire first generation of Douluo continent, it goes without saying that the people Zhang Tianyu hates the most are Yu Xiaogang and Tang San, but the second only to them is Oscar, the seemingly weak, gentle, humble, and polite big warm man. In comparison, Mahanjan is a fool. He was almost killed by this group of so-called brothers. Recovering his thoughts, he heard Anew say, "Okay, don't worry about him. Let's go, I'll take you through the exam. No need to queue." Tang San said, "This is not good." Anew said, "Don't worry, I'm not partial. This is what you deserve." As he said, he led everyone to the front of the line. The person in charge of the second round of exams was also an elderly teacher. Because Tang San went to buy sausages before, he didn't have time to see what the content of the exam was. Anew walked to the teacher, whispered a few words in his ear, and pointed at Tang San and Xiao Wu. The teacher nodded and said, "Okay, you take them directly to the 4th level. They will be admitted if they pass." The candidates in the queue were immediately dissatisfied when they heard this. "Teacher, what's going on? Why can they enter the 4th level exam without taking the exam? But we have to pass each level one by one." "That's right, why?" Through the back door, Luca Bin glanced at Zhang Tianyu and said with some excitement in his eyes, "If your soul power is also above level 25, then you can also go directly to the 4th level exam without wasting time here with me." The candidates were stunned. Their soul power is above level 25. This is impossible. We are only 12 years old. How can there be such a high soul power? Anew snorted coldly, "If you can't do it, don't think that others can't do it either. When I entered the academy, my soul power was level 25. Then he looked at Zhang Tianyu and smiled. "Tianyu, come on, let them open their eyes. You ask me if I like to show off, then I definitely like it. Since you invite me to show off now, then I won't be polite." Zhang Tianyu walked a few steps forward. Ning Rangrong, who didn't know Zhang Tianyu's level yet, immediately widened her eyes with curiosity. The first thing that attracted her must be Zhang Tianyu's appearance. There was no way Brother Tianyu was really hot. The next scene was even cooler. Whoosh! The black sword came out, and 3 rings appeared. Yellow, yellow, purple. The appearance of 3 soul rings directly turned the scene into a large-scale gasp show. Every candidate widened their eyes and gasped wildly. 3 rings. Wow. Soul Master. This guy's actually a Soul Master. A 12-year-old Soul Master? Ning Rangrong was also stunned. I thought Zhang Tianyu would use the crystal ball to test it, but I didn't expect him to directly show the soul ring. After being stunned, her eyes lit up. According to the rules of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect, the direct descendants will have the spirit of the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile Tower and lack the ability to protect themselves, so their partners must find powerful battle soul masters. The man in front of him, Zhang Tianyu, has a sword spirit, and is undoubtedly a battle soul master with a sword spirit. He is the same age, but he is already a 3-ring master, a super genius, a top genius. Plus he is also very handsome. He is my cup of tea. Ning Rangrong was sure in almost an instant that I would bite this Zhang Tianyu. Our Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect wants him. Anew folded his arms in front of his chest and asked, "Anything else you want to say?" The examinees murmured, "How is this possible? 12 years old. Soul Master? No. This is impossible. Oh my god, what did I see? What did I see?" Anew sneered, "Although the others are not as high as Tianyu, they are not much worse. You are a bad student. Don't think that others are as bad as you. Let's go." After that, he ignored the examinees and led everyone to the 4th level. On the way, everyone listened carefully to Anew's introduction to the academy, except Ning Rangrong, who kept looking at Zhang Tianyu from time to time. Finally, she found a gap when Dame Yubei was talking, and she asked Zhang Xiaogang directly, "Are you really only 12 years old?" "Yes." Zhang Xiaogang said. The teacher at the door touched my bone age with his own hands. Oh my god. Ning Rangrang's eyes widened. Her eyes were full of little stars. How did you practice? How can you have such a high level? And the spirit rings look like they are all in the best ratio. This is a mutant martial spirit. Zhang Xiaogang said. Everyone showed a look of surprise. When in doubt, mutant martial spirits are the truth. Don't ask why mutant martial spirits can be cultivated so quickly. There are also mutant martial spirits whose levels are directly reset to 0. Go ask them why their martial spirits are reset to 0 after mutation, and see if they will beat you. Go ask Yu Xiaogang why he became an independent martial spirit after mutation, and see if he knows. Go ask the spirit hall, and see if they know. No one knows, so it makes sense. At this time, Dame Yubei said, "Do you know what one of the conditions for graduating from the academy is?" "What is it?" everyone asked immediately. Zhang Xiaogang said, "Is it to reach level 40? Dame Yubei was stunned. "How do you know?" "Yes, reaching level 40 before the age of 30 is one of the conditions." Everyone. "What about the rest?" Zhang Xiaogang asked, "And at least get the silver fighting soul badge of the fighting soul arena, both individually and as a team." Then, Dame Yubei looked at Zhang Xiaogang and said, "Well, I don't think this is very difficult for you." Chapter 36, Little Soul Master, how ridiculous. As they walked and talked, they came to the examination room for the 4th level. This 4th level is a test of actual combat. After Dame Yubei finished his introduction, Zhang Xiaogang also saw Zhao Wuji sitting on a chair. "Teacher Zhao, I'm bringing people to the 4th level examination." "Huh? There are people coming to the 4th level this year? There are 5 of them? Not bad." Zhao Wuji kept looking at everyone. "I heard that there seems to be an incredible little guy coming this year, who has become a soul master at a young age. Who is he?" Swish. Everyone's eyes were focused on Zhang Xiaogang. Zhang Xiaogang took a step forward. "It's me." Zhao Wuji looked him up and down, his eyes full of light. "Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. A 12-year-old soul master is simply a super genius unprecedented in history. Good. Very good. Here is the last level, a practical test. Since the 5 of you have come here without taking the test, I will play with you personally. As long as you can last in my hands for an incense stick of time, you will pass." Dame Yubei was stunned. Finding a teacher, isn't that a bad idea? Why is it not good? Zhao Wuji glared at him. "The dean is not here, and I'm the boss in the academy now. Besides, if I don't go, you can, okay?" These words instantly touched Dame Yubei's DNA. Dame Yubei said suddenly, "A man can't say no." The next second, he immediately wilted. But this time, it's really not possible. "Teacher Zhao, please come." "That's it." Zhao Wuji laughed. "Go tell them about my strength. Let them be prepared." Dame Yubei called everyone to the other side and said with a heavy expression, "Hiss, this is a bit troublesome. I didn't expect Teacher Zhao to come out personally. Is this teacher very strong? Is he also a soul emperor like the teacher outside?" Zhao Wu asked. Dame Yubei shook his head. "Not a soul emperor." Zhao Wu smiled lightly. "What's there to be afraid of? Dame Yubei interrupted her directly. "It's a soul saint." Zhao Wu choked on the spot. Level 76, Battle Soul Saint Martial Soul Vajra Bear. Almost no weaknesses on the body. Originally, the 4th test was scheduled to be me against you, with Teacher Zhao as the supervisor, but now, Zhao Wu said bluntly, "No wonder you said you can't do it. You can't do it. You have already lost to Xiaogang." Dame Yubei looked embarrassed, stood a glance at Zhu Zuking, and said, "Ahem, I admit that Xiaogang's strength is very good. So if you all come together, I will definitely not be his opponent." Zhao Wu was about to speak, but Zhang Xiaogang spoke in time. "In that case, we have to formulate a battle plan to defeat Teacher Zhao." Dame Yubei looked at Zhang Xiaogang gratefully and said, "Well, it's up to you next." Zhao Wu and others looked at Zhang Xiaogang. "You are the strongest among the 5 of us. Go ahead." Zhang Xiaogang said, "Everyone, please briefly introduce yourself and talk about your martial soul and characteristics." After everyone introduced themselves to each other, Tang San looked at Ning Rangrang in surprise. Your martial soul is the Seven Treasures Glazed Pagoda? Are you from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Ning Rangrang stuck out her tongue. I ran away from home secretly. Don't look at me. I'm no different from ordinary people. As she said that, she glanced at Zhang Tianyu, but when she found that Zhang Tianyu's expression was not turbulent, a hint of disappointment flashed in her eyes. Why does he seem to be uninterested in my identity? Is it that the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect is not attractive to him? Or am I not attractive to him? She didn't know that the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect was indeed not attractive to Zhang Tianyu. Of course, it was Ning Rangrang who was attractive to Zhang Tianyu. To be more precise, it was Ning Rangrang's mouth cannon. Here I mean that Ning Rangrang is good at speaking. Really? Zhang Tianyu thought for a while and said, in this case, we can only use the simplest tactics. I will attack from the front. Arson will try to control Teacher Zhao's attack. Xiao Wu and Zhu Xiuqing will attack from both sides, and Ning Rangrang will be responsible for assisting us at the back. Xiao Wu was a little worried. He is a soul saint. Is it okay for you to attack alone? Don't worry. Zhang Tianyu said, it's not a big problem. Everyone nodded and decided. Seeing that the five were ready, Zhao Wuji stood up with a face full of fighting spirit. A stick of incense was lit. Zhang Tianyu took the lead and swung his sword. The first soul ring lit up, and 3 red fireballs whizzed towards Zhao Wuji. The first soul ring came with 2 soul skills, Hell Flying Flame and Burning Whip. But because it was disguised as a 100-year soul ring, Zhang Tianyu could only choose 1 soul skill to use. Hell Flying Flame can swing the sword to release a fireball with tracking ability. After being hit by the fireball, the soul will be burned by the flame and poisoned. Burning Whip can grow long whip tentacles from the back, and there will be as many tentacles as there are soul rings. He only has 3 soul rings now, so he can only grow 3 tentacles. Tentacles don't quite fit his temperament as a young swordsman, and their practicality is not as good as Hell Flying Flame, so he chose Hell Flying Flame. Looking at the flying fireballs, Zhao Wuji's eyes condensed, and he directly completed the martial soul possession. Zhang Tianyu was stunned. Hey, you don't pretend anymore? Not so cool anymore? In the original story, you were so pretentious at the beginning that you didn't have a spirit at all. How come you are possessed right away? Hint, because he saw that this spirit skill was not simple. He was indeed a guy who lived on the edge of a knife in his early years. Although this was a disguised spirit skill of 100,000 years, he still sensed its extraordinary power. Hint, received the task, greetings from Slavs. Task goal, defeat Zhao Wuji. No limit on methods, means, or consequences. Task reward, reward points plus 500. Zhang Tianyu discovered one thing, although the reward points have increased, why didn't he give the upgrade reward? But now is not the time to study this. Zhao Wuji, after completing the spirit possession, his height soared from the original 1.6 meters to 2.5 meters, and hard bear hair grew all over his body, completely a human-shaped giant scar bear. However, the fireball still hit him, and when he found that he didn't feel anything where the fireball hit him, he laughed. Little soul master, how ridiculous. Although he is a top genius, he is still too young after all. Now it's time for me to educate you. The next second, he was stunned. The sky was filled with red fireballs without anyone noticing. All of these fireballs were whistling towards him. At the same time, a tingling sensation suddenly came from the place where the fireball had just hit. And the strange thing was that it was not a tingling sensation in the body, it seemed. It was a pain from the soul. Zhao Wuji was stunned. P.S. It's really uncomfortable to be Yang. I finally managed to finish 3 chapters. I hope you enjoy reading it. Chapter 37 Ting Ting, I won't fight anymore. He didn't take the small fireball seriously until he felt a strange pain from the place where he was hit. First soul skill. Akala body. Zhao Wuji roared, and a brilliant golden light burst out of his body. He had to use this trick because there were too many fireballs all over the sky, like rain, and all the fireballs had only one target, that was him. Whoosh. All the fireballs that came within 3 meters of him were bounced away at this moment, but the sky was full of fireballs. Even if these were bounced away, there was still a steady stream of fireballs flying behind them, and those bounced fireballs did not disappear, but turned a corner in the air, turned around and flew straight to Xiao Wuji again. Xiao Wuji was completely stunned. Is there such a thing? Logically speaking, shouldn't this low-level soul skill disappear after being bounced away? How can it fly back again? Well, let's not talk about this. First of all, the number of it is outrageous enough. The first soul skill of a little soul master can actually summon so many fireballs? Isn't this the 7th, 8th, and 9th soul skill of a titled Douluo? Exclamation mark. Zhang Tianyu's soul skill is so buggy. Many people are misled by his level, strength, and the form of this soul skill when fighting with Zhang Tianyu. They think that these fireballs are all triggered by Zhang Tianyu's own soul power, but it's not. Zhang Tianyu's first soul skill only activates the function of summoning fireballs. These fireballs are actually made by his martial soul, the Huangquan sword. In other words, he only needs to consume a little soul power to turn on the switch of Huangquan to make fireballs. For the rest, he only needs to keep waving Huangquan. Huangquan can continuously create this kind of fireball with tracking ability, which can burn the soul, and is also poisonous during the duration of this soul skill. And the origin of Huangquan's sword is very terrifying. For this artifact, that controls the power of Black Death, making a little fireball does not consume any energy at all. In general, there is no solution. Very no solution. Many ants can kill an elephant. There are so many fireballs, and they ignore the defense of the physical body and directly burn the soul. Not to mention a mere soul saint, even a titled Douluo may not be able to withstand it, if he only defends. In a flash, Xiao Wuji has recovered. He knows that he can no longer continue to passively defend. He must take the initiative to attack, otherwise these fireballs will slowly grind him to death. He can't use the latter soul skills, otherwise it will be spread out and let others know that he used the 5th, 6th, and 7th soul skills to deal with a junior soul master, and others will laugh at him. So he must fight quickly and deal with Zhang Tianyu as quickly as possible. As long as this kid is solved, his soul skills will naturally be broken. Without this kid, others will be much easier to deal with. His idea is not wrong, but the problem is Zhang Tianyu so easy to deal with? 4th soul skill. Positioning and tracking. Xiao Wuji shouted, and the 4th soul ring flew out and landed on Zhang Tianyu accurately. Seeing this scene, Dame Yubei immediately broke into a cold sweat for Zhang Tianyu. He was locked, and Zhang Tianyu couldn't run away. The moment Zhang Tianyu was locked by the soul ring, Xiao Wuji jumped up suddenly, and then it seemed as if there was a huge force pulling between the two. Xiao Wuji came to Zhang Tianyu in almost an instant. At this moment, when the distance was shortened, Xiao Wuji took the time to look at the fireballs behind him. Sure enough, because the distance between him and Zhang Tianyu was shortened, in order to prevent accidental injury to Zhang Tianyu himself, those fireballs no longer tracked him. This is a way to capture the thief and the king. Xiao Wuji laughed in his heart. Boy, you are still too young. However, when he turned around and planned to attack Zhang Tianyu, he was stunned. Where is Zhang Tianyu? Why is he gone? Exclamation mark. What the hell? He was clearly in front of me just now. How could he disappear in the blink of an eye? At this moment, Xiao Wuji heard the sound of breaking through the air from above his head. He looked up, and his pupils suddenly shrank. He saw that Zhang Tianyu's second soul ring had lit up, and he himself had already stepped on his martial soul black sword and flew in the air. What the hell? He can also fly with a sword? Xiao Wuji was confused. This is totally unexpected. Does this kid have so many tricks? Ningrangrang's beautiful eyes lit up again. Wow. He can also fly with a sword. So amazing. Just as powerful as Grandpa Jian. Thinking of this, Ningrangrang was shocked. Yes. Zhang Tianyu is not only handsome, powerful, and talented, but he is also a sword martial soul, and can fly with a sword. Grandpa Jian will definitely like it. In this way, no matter from which aspect, Zhang Tianyu and the 7 treasures glazed sector a perfect match. Ningrangrang's mood suddenly became so good that it exploded. However, she also made a huge mistake because of this. Now she is in the fighting spirit. Even if it is not a life and death fight, but just a test from the teacher to the students, it still requires full commitment. Zhao Wuji saw that he could not catch Zhang Xianyu, so he simply gave up Zhang Xianyu immediately, and then immediately shifted his target to Ning Rangrong, the assistant. As a result, Ning Rangrong was not only defenseless, but also slacking off. Be careful. Zhao Wu's reminder made Ning Rangrong suddenly come back to her senses, but she was horrified to find that Zhao Wuji had rushed in front of him. Tang San's blue-silver grass followed closely behind, but it was obviously too late. Obviously, Zhao Wuji would reach Ning Rangrong faster than the blue-silver grass. But, you can always believe in the speed of Wuji flying sword. Sonic boom suddenly rose, and black light broke through the air. Everyone, including Zhao Wuji, saw a flash of light before their eyes, and Ning Rangrong had already disappeared from the spot. Zhao Wuji's bare paw pounced into nothingness, and then there was another second of confusion. He turned back suddenly, and saw that Ning Rangrong had been held in Zhang Xianyu's arms. The black light was the black sword under Zhang Xianyu's feet. Because it moved so fast, it seemed to be connected into a ray of light in the air. What a fast speed. Zhao Wuji was amazed in his heart. This child is really good. Ning Rangrong fell into Zhang Xianyu's arms, feeling like she was dreaming. I'm being held in his arms now. This feeling is so wonderful. Don't be distracted. Zhang Xianyu whispered. His primary target is us too. Hearing this pleasant voice, Ning Rangrong suddenly woke up and nodded vigorously. Zhang Xianyu held her and jumped away from Huangquan. Ning Rangrong couldn't help but scream. In her panic, Zhang Xianyu held her and landed on the roof nearby. Huangquan turned into a black light and flew straight towards Zhao Wuji. At the same time, those fireballs began to fly towards Zhao Wuji from all angles. Zhao Wuji sighed in his heart and then said, "Ting ting, no more fighting." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 38, Not Following the Routine. Hearing Zhao Wuji shouting no more fighting, Zhang Xianyu waved his sword. Huangquan immediately flew back to him, and the fireballs in the sky also stopped attacking. Stop fighting so soon. Zhao Wuji, you are really getting less and less persistent. You are not as persistent as you were in your last life. And this time, it was basically me fighting with you. Zhao Wu and the others basically didn't make any moves. Zhao Wuji had already released the spirit possession and shook his head and said, "I didn't expect that you would be so strong. What's the matter with your first spirit skill? Why can you release so many fireballs? And it seems that your spirit power doesn't seem to be consumed much." "I don't know either." Zhang Xianyu pretended to be confused. "Maybe it's because I have a mutated spirit." Sure enough, Zhao Wuji also showed a look of realization after hearing this and stopped asking questions, just saying, "This mutated spirit is really unreasonable. There is no need for us to fight anymore. I already know your strength. If we continue to fight like this, I will either get hurt or use my real skills. Either way is not appropriate, so, on behalf of the college, I welcome you to come." "Thank you, Teacher Zhao." Zhang Xianyu raised his hand and dispersed all the fireballs. "What are you thanking me for? This is what you fought for with your own strength. Zhao Bei, take them through the process." After saying that, Zhao Wuji turned and left. Zhang Xianyu was a little disappointed. "Hey, don't leave. Just leave like that. Hey, you only saw my strength, but not Tang San's strength. You're not going to beat Tang San up, right? You're not going to test Tang San's strength? What a pity. Oh no, there's still my hell flying flame in your body? Don't you let me clear it for you? Why are you walking so fast?" But Zhao Wuji had already walked away. And the reason why Zhao Wuji was so anxious to leave was precisely because of this hell flying flame. He wanted to solve this strange flame by himself. Damu Bei walked in front of everyone with a complicated expression. He now knew that Zhang Xianyu obviously held back when sparring with him. If Zhang Xianyu had made so many fireballs at that time, he would definitely be dead. It seems that you held back when sparring with me, Damu Bei asked in a low voice. Zhang Xiaogang replied, that's right, we have no grudges, why would you kill me? Besides, if I hurt you, who would I ask for money? Damu Bei. Ah, so in your eyes, I can be easily beaten? Thank you for your concern. Touched. Tears. Soon, a series of procedures were completed, and everyone came to their respective dormitories. Just like in the previous life, Tang San and Oscar lived in one room, Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang lived in one room, Damu Bei and Mahanjan lived in one room, Zhang Xiaogang and Zhu Zuking lived in one room. Each lived in one room. It would be great if they could live in one room. Everyone put their luggage in their respective dormitories and got to know each other's roommates. Ning Rangrang was overjoyed. She didn't expect to be assigned to the same dormitory with Xiao Wu. She could see that Xiao Wu and Zhang Xiaogang had a special relationship. If she had a good relationship with Xiao Wu, wouldn't it be easy to get close to Zhang Xiaogang? As for the relationship between Xiao Wu and Zhang Xiaogang, she didn't care. The strong are respected in Douluo continent. Which powerful man doesn't have 3 wives and 4 concubines? Which powerful woman doesn't have 3 husbands and 4 concubines? Doesn't her father Ning Fengzi have few wives? Doesn't he have few sons? As long as Zhang Xiaogang can make her the first wife in the future, she can accept being the second wife below Xiao Wu. Of course, the premise is that Zhang Xiaogang's strength must be worthy of all this. If he wants to have 3 wives and 4 concubines without strength, then he is pure idiot. Zhang Xiaogang put his things away, lay down on the bed with his legs spread out, and took a deep breath comfortably. It feels great. Back to this familiar dormitory again. It feels great. Although he didn't spend a long time here, he has a lot of memories. In his previous life, his interactions with Ning Rangrang, Zhu Zuking and Xiao Wu were basically completed here. Although he moved into the Wuhan Hall and lived in a more luxurious bedroom in the later period, he didn't have this kind of intimacy. The bedroom is a golden nest or a silver nest. This broken dormitory is a grass nest. Interesting. After lying for a while, Zhang Xiaogang began to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bang bang bang. The door was knocked. Really accurate. Who is it? Zhang Xiaogang stood up and asked knowingly. It's me. Xiao Wu's voice came from outside the door. Zhang Xiaogang walked over and opened the door and saw Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang, 2 young and beautiful girls, standing outside the door, looking at him with a smile. What's the matter? Zhang Xiaogang continued to ask knowingly. We have completed the admission procedures, settled in the dormitory, and there is nothing else to do now. Why don't we go to Soto City to have a look and eat something delicious? Xiao Wu shook Zhang Xiaogan's arm happily. This. Don't talk about this and that, Xiao Wu said. Rangrang and I are going to go. Can you rest assured that our 2 cute and beautiful little beauties go out to play alone? Besides, the formal classes will start tomorrow. I don't know how long we have to wait for the next time we can go out to play. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang were very happy, but obviously, Ning Rangrang was happier. At this moment, she thought to herself, it was right to get along well with Xiao Wu. I can get close to him so soon. That's great. In the original plot, several people fought fiercely with Xiao Wuji. After the fight, they were very tired, so they all rested in the dormitory. This time, they were basically just playing by the side, and Zhang Xiaogang was the only one who was attacking. So now they are naturally full of energy. At the gate of the college, Ning Rangrang took the initiative to ask, it seems that there is no carriage here in the college. Should we walk to Soto City? It is almost noon now, and the sun is a little strong. As she said, Ning Rangrang's beautiful eyes moved, looking at Zhang Xiaogang. Zhang Xiaogang knew that she wanted to ride on his flying sword, but there was only so much space on the flying sword. If 3 people squeezed together, wouldn't it be close contact? Xiao Wu would definitely not agree. However, what Zhang Xiaogang didn't expect was that Xiao Wu actually agreed. This is not right. You didn't agree in the last life. He didn't know that in this life, Ning Rangrang was determined to get Zhang Xiaogang as soon as they met, so she had a good relationship with Xiao Wu at all costs. Although she was a witch and was more willful, she grew up in the Seven Treasures glazed sect and had a treacherous father like Ning Fengzi, so she was quite good at interpersonal relationships. Of course, although Xiao Wu agreed, it was still impossible for Ning Rangrang and Zhang Xianyu to have close contact. So after getting on the flying sword, Zhang Xianyu was in the front, Xiao Wu was in the middle, hugging his waist, and Ning Rangrang was in the back, hugging Xiao Wu's waist. Why was it different from the previous life? Zhang Xianyu scratched his head, full of doubts. Chapter 39. This job is not good. Hint, the plot is different from the previous life. This is definitely related to Ning Rangrang. So, why don't we trick her? Zhang Xianyu was stunned, and before he could speak, hint, activate the task. There is a person in the capital who is good at ventriloquism. His name is Wrong. Task goal. Trick Ning Rangrang once. No limit on the method, no limit on the means, no limit on the consequences, but it is best not to kill her. Task reward. Reward points plus 200. Soul level plus 1. Zhang Xianyu, the ventriloquism you mentioned, it's best to refer to real ventriloquism. Damn, don't you cut off contact with me when I do something private? So how did you know that Ning Rangrang is good at ventriloquism? When you do something private, my contact with you will indeed be cut off, but when you usually recall the CG, our contact is not cut off. So I basically learned about their characteristics through your recall CG. For example, Ning Rangrang is good at ventriloquism, and although Zhu Xiaogang is not good at speaking, she is eloquent. The two of them complement each other. For example, Yu Xiaogang is under great pressure. Okay, shut up. Zhang Xianyu's face turned red. This damn system has more and more dirty words. Moreover, is the CG okay to recall? Do you really treat it as a masterpiece? Okay, host. After a second of silence, the system prompted again. Activate task. Roger, I'm your brother Yu. Task goal. Improve Ning Rangrang's favorability and lay the foundation for the next plan. Task reward. Reward points plus 100. Isn't it easy to trick Ning Rangrang? Now is a good time to trick her. Flying in the sky, the breeze brushing across the cheek. The feeling can't be expressed in words. This is Ning Rangrang's mood at the moment. Although she has a sword grandfather who can also fly with a sword and loves her very much, she has experienced a lot of flying in the sky, but things depend on people. Flying with giant Douluo and flying with Zhang Xianyu, the feeling is absolutely completely different. And although she was holding Xiao Wu's waist, Xiao Wu was also close to Zhang Xianyu, so her hands could also touch Zhang Xianyu, feeling the warmth of Zhang Xianyu's body, and recalling the scene when Zhang Xianyu held her in his arms during the previous battle with Xiao Wuji. Ning Rangrang couldn't help, but her face turned red. However, just as she was immersed in this beautiful memory, she suddenly felt a strange itch on her neck, as if something had pricked her neck gently. She was startled and screamed, and subconsciously loosened her arms around Xiao Wu and grabbed her neck. Huang Quan had long known Zhang Xianyu's plan, and at this time, he released the suction on Ning Rangrang's feet. So, naturally, Ning Rangrang fell from Huang Quan with a horrified expression. Zhang Xianyu and Xiao Wu were both startled. Zhang Xianyu quickly controlled Huang Quan to fly straight to the falling Ning Rangrang. You can always believe in Huang Quan's speed. In a blink of an eye, he came under Ning Rangrang's body, grabbed Ning Rangrang with both hands, and steadily took her in his arms. Feeling this warm and familiar embrace, Ning Rangrang's mood also experienced ups and downs from panic to happiness. Are you okay? Zhang Xianyu asked. No. Although she was caught, Ning Rangrang's heartbeat was still very fast. I'm glad you're okay. Xiao Wu also came back to her senses from the shock at this time. She didn't care about Zhang Xianyu holding Ning Rangrang for the time being, but let out a long breath. At this time, they were not far from Soto City. Zhang Xianyu slowly landed and put Ning Rangrang on the ground. When her feet touched the ground, Ning Rangrang finally felt that her soul had returned to her body, and she kept breathing heavily. What happened just now? Rangrang, why did you suddenly fall down? Xiao Wu asked with some fear. Just now I felt like something touched me on my neck, Ning Rangrang recalled. Then I was startled and reached out to touch it, but I lost my balance and fell down. On the neck. What's that? Xiao Wu quickly helped her look. I didn't see anything. Maybe I felt it wrong. Ning Rangrang was also scared. However, Xiao Wu's eyes became sharp. Could it be that Ning Rangrang said this on purpose, deliberately letting go and falling down so that Xiaoyu could catch her, just to let Xiaoyu hold her? Yes, it's possible. But it's not quite right. Would she really do such a dangerous thing for such a small purpose? At such a high altitude, if Xiaoyu didn't react, or if he didn't catch it, it would be either death or injury. I'm glad you're okay. Zhang Xiaoyu said, maybe it's your first time riding a flying sword, you're not used to it. The first time I flew with a sword, I wasn't used to it either. Ning Rangrang's heart moved, and she took this opportunity to say, no, this is not my first time riding a flying sword. We have two titled Douluo in our 7 treasures glazed tile sect, one of whom is a sword Douluo, who can fly with a sword. I've ridden it several times. I have to say that she is still very smart. Not only did she point out that a 7 treasures glazed tile sect is powerful and has 2 titled Douluo in charge, she also named one of them as a titled Douluo who specializes in using swords. This is a temptation of professional counterparts. Ning Rangrang smiled in her heart. Zhang Xiaoyu, my grandfather Jian is a titled Douluo who uses swords, and you are also a sword spirit. Wouldn't you be tempted? As a result, Zhang Xiaoyu didn't feel any heartbeat at all. Well, that may be because I'm not used to controlling it. Sorry, I scared you. Ning Rangrang. What? Aren't you a sword spirit? My grandfather Jian is a titled Douluo who specializes in using swords. After hearing this, you don't even have the slightest interest? It would be great if you could worship him as your master. Are you a sword spirit or not? Hint, congratulations on completing the task. Roger, I'm your brother Yu. Get reward. Reward points plus 100. Zhang Xiaoyu was stunned. Huh? Only this one was completed. No, why didn't the task that harmed Ning Rangrang be completed? Ning Rangrang fell from such a high place and was so scared that her face turned pale, but she didn't complete it. Hint, yes, host, you said it yourself, to do something new, to do something good, to do something new. Using the prop, flying centipede, combined with Huangquan's cooperation, to make Ning Rangrang fall from a high altitude, is no longer considered a new and good life. Zhang Xiaoyu, I really shot myself in the foot. After a short break, the 3 continued to head to Soto City. Zhang Xiaoyu browsed them all while walking, doing something new, right? Okay, look at me, I'll give you a new and good life. Chapter 40 After cheating Rangrang, you cheat Xiaogang. After working all morning, the first thing the 3 of them had to do was naturally eat. Xiao Wu jumped and took the 2 of them to her favorite restaurant. Zhang Xiaoyu watched them order food while quickly browsing the mall, looking for suitable props. After searching for a long time, he didn't find any suitable props. Ning Rangrang is a girl after all, and she was one of his wives in the previous life. He can't use the same intensity to trick her as he did Tang San and Yu Xiaogang. So he has to find a gentler prop with less serious consequences. Zhang Xiaoyu scratched his head. What props should he use? Or what method should he use? We have chosen. Xiaoyu, do you have anything else to add? Xiao Wu's voice brought Zhang Xiaoyu's thoughts back to reality. Looking at the menu in the waiter's hand, Zhang Xiaoyu nodded. That's it. Hurry up. We are all hungry. Okay. The waiter nodded politely and turned to leave. Looking at the waiter's back, Zhang Xiaoyu suddenly had an idea. Then he changed his mind and thought, no, it's too cruel, so he gave up this plan. A few seconds later, he came up with another plan. But he gave up soon. Facing Tang San, Yu Xiaogang, Oscar and other people, he could do anything, as long as he didn't kill them. But facing Ning Rangrang, the little tender girl who wrapped him up like gentle water in his previous life, those methods were a bit too cruel. Hiss. What should I do? Soon, the dishes came up one by one. Xiao Wu was really hungry. She ate without any ladylike demeanor as soon as she came up. Eat. In comparison, Ning Rangrang was much more elegant. As the successor to the leader of the 7 treasures glazed sect, she had no problem with table manners. Looking at the elegant way that the cherry mouth ate, Zhang Xianyu's eyes suddenly lit up. A plan? Asked the system. Of course not. Zhang Xianyu's eyes lit up and remembered some good times in his previous life. System. But Zhang Xianyu did have an idea, a less brutal and more gentle one. Since we can't treat Ning Rangrang so roughly, let's give her a small prop. Choose prop. I eat, eat, eat. With his hand hidden in his sleeve, he flicked his finger at Ning Rangrang and used it successfully. Looking at Xiao Wu, who was eating without any ladylike manners, Ning Rangrang didn't have any expression on the surface, but just concentrated on eating her meal. But in her heart she felt a little contemptuous of Xiao Wu. After all, she was a girl, so is it really okay to eat so much? Especially in front of Zhang Xianyu. You see me, although I'm also very hungry, but I maintain a very elegant eating posture. But on second thought, she felt a little blocked in her heart. Why? Xiao Wu can eat so unruly in front of Zhang Xianyu, which can only show that the relationship between the two is really good. The more Ning Rangrang thought about it, the more depressed she became. The more she thought about it, the more blocked her heart became. They have such a good relationship, and Xiao Wu can eat everything in front of Zhang Xianyu without any ladylike demeanor. What's the point of me maintaining this elegance? Never mind. Anyway, I'm hungry too, so I might as well eat. Thinking of this, Ning Rangrang suddenly changed her previous ladylike demeanor, rolled up her sleeves, picked up the chopsticks, and held the bowl, and ate. Looking at her, Zhang Xianyu was shocked. Wow, although this prop is a small prop, it is also very powerful. How to describe it? In the last second, Ning Rangrang was eating slowly like an elegant peacock, and in the next second she turned directly into a wild boar, grunting annoying. Awesome. Awesome. Not to mention Zhang Xianyu, even Xiao Wu was shocked. It turns out that the pampered eldest lady of the upper three sects is so bold when eating. Okay, I'm determined to make friends with this bestie. Seeing Ning Rangrang eating like crazy as if someone was trying to snatch her food, Zhang Xianyu came up with another idea. If he combined this eat item with a old date food item. Shit. There's no need to clean the toilet. It's all been taken by Tang San and Yu Xiaogang. Great. I'll keep this combination set for now, and when the time is right, I'll give it to the two of them. I guarantee they'll want to eat one skewer or two. When Ning Rangrang realized something was wrong, the food on the table had been cleared away, and her stomach was already so full that she couldn't eat anymore. Why did I eat so much? Ning Rangrang looked at her stomach and was stunned. Maybe you're too hungry, Zhang Xianyu said. Do you need some more? Xiao Wu asked. Ning Rangrang's face flushed with shame. When she saw the oil stains on her clothes, she was even more upset. No. My image of a lady. I'm full. I'll wait for you outside first. After saying that, Ning Rangrang left the scene as quickly as if she was escaping. Are you full? Zhang Xianyu asked. Xiao Wu nodded. I'm full too. Let's go. I'll go out and see her first. Xiao Wu said. After Zhang Xianyu paid the bill and left the restaurant, he saw Xiao Wu standing aside with Ning Rangrang, while Ning Rangrang was holding her waist with one hand like a pregnant woman and rubbing her belly with the other hand. Her belly at this moment was indeed very big, attracting many passers-by to look back frequently. Pregnant at such a young age. Amazing. I admire you. Seeing Zhang Xianyu coming out, Ning Rangrang's face immediately blushed again. She wailed in her heart, it's over. How could I be so embarrassed in front of Zhang Xianyu? My image in his heart must have collapsed. Zhang Xianyu looked at her image and actions and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This prop is really powerful. It can actually make a person look like a pregnant woman. Outrageous. It's outrageous. This is already the mildest type of props for cheating people, but it can be so powerful. Otherwise, let Ning Rangrang do a backflip next time. Hint, congratulations. There is a person in the capital who is good at ventriloquism. His name is Wrong. Mission completed. Mission reward. Reward points plus 200. Soul level plus 1. Zhang Xianyu nodded secretly. It seems that girls like Ning Rang are really concerned about their etiquette and appearance. Just now, she had no etiquette when she was eating and drinking. Now she is pregnant, her clothes are stained with oil and dirt, and her appearance is a mess. This is a big blow to her. It seems that in the future, when cheating and pranking people, you have to treat the symptoms. As for Tang San and Yu Xiaogang, there is no need to treat the symptoms. Just use the most ruthless ones. Then according to the nature of the system, Xiaowu and Ning Rangrang have been cheated, and the next one must be Zhu Xiuqing, right? As expected, just as this thought came up, hint, activate the task, learn to meow together, meow 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 meow, task target, harm Zhu Xiuqing, no limit on the method, no limit on the means, no limit on the consequences, but it is best not to cause her death. Task reward points plus 200, soul level plus 1. Chapter 41 Tang San, a new punishment has appeared. I have known that the system is ruthless, but I didn't expect it to be so ruthless. Ahem. Do we have to cheat all the girls in the future? Yes, host. 6. Of course, we don't cheat people for no reason. We must find an excuse, right? There must be a sufficient reason. For example, the reason why we have to cheat Ning Rangrang is because she didn't play by the rules this time, which made you unable to predict the future. This is her fault, so we have to cheat her. Zhang Tianyu asked, what about Zhu Xiuqing? She didn't do anything. The system replied, yes, it is precisely because she didn't do anything. When fighting with Zhao Wuji, she had the opportunity to assist, but she didn't do so. So we have to cheat her. Zhang Tianyu, after being reborn once, why do I feel that the system has become skinnier? It was the same when I cheated Oscar before. In the past, the system didn't have any preparation at all. It cheated me. Now, I have to find an excuse, saying that Oscar had heat stroke. Is there any causal relationship between Oscar having heat stroke and cheating him? After getting on the carriage, Ning Rangrang blushed and lowered her head, not daring to look at Zhang Tianyu at all. If there was a crack in the ground now, she would definitely be able to get in. Zhang Tianyu was also very smart at this time, and chose not to sit in the carriage, but to sit outside next to the driver, watching the scenery, while arguing with the driver. Being in the car at this time would only make Ning Rangrang more embarrassed, and might even make Ning Rangrang lose her favor. Finally, they returned to the college. After getting off the car, Zhao Wu said hello to Zhang Tianyu, and took Ning Rangrang back to the dormitory as if escaping. Looking at their backs, Zhang Tianyu sighed. It seemed that the way he chose to trick Ning Rangrang today was not very good. It seemed that it had left a psychological shadow on Ning Rangrang. So what method should he use to trick Zhu Xiuqing next? Before Zhang Tianyu could come up with a solution, the system said again, reminder, activate the task, CC Hatter ends here, task goal, it has been a while since I tricked Tang San again, let him know that CC Hatter is over, and a new round of punishment has come. Trick Tang San, no limit on the method, no limit on the means, no limit on the consequences, but it cannot cause his death, nor expose yourself. Task reward points plus 100, set new soul bone unlocking degree plus 25%. Zhang Tianyu's eyes lit up immediately, hey, this is good. There is no need to think so much about tricking Tang San, just do whatever you want, no need to worry about the consequences. Hehe, I have thought of many ways to trick him a long time ago, just choose one for him this time. The next morning, there was a knock on the door. Zhang Tianyu, who had already dressed and washed, opened the door, and it was indeed Zhao Wu and Ning Rangrang standing outside the door. Ning Rangrang is even more shy today. Good morning. Zhang Tianyu smiled brightly like the sun, and nodded at Ning Rangrang. This was his signature smile for picking up girls. Sure enough, when Ning Rangrang saw this handsome smile, her expression froze for a moment. Hint, Ning Rangrang's current heart rate is 166. Zhang Tianyu thought to himself, that I could tell without your reminder. This trick of mine has never failed. Ahem, of course, except for Bibi Dang. That old woman hates men, so this trick of his is really not very useful to her. Good morning, Tianyu. How did you sleep last night? Zhang Tianyu asked. Not bad, Zhao Wu smiled. Although the environment of this college is a bit worse, it is very quiet and has a feeling of returning to nature. Zhang Tianyu was happy. Hayek, living here has a feeling of returning to nature. Loek, pigs in the village don't poke needles. How did you rest? Ning Rangrang asked with a red face. It's okay. After all, it's a single room and it's very comfortable to live in. Zhang Tianyu smiled, and once again stunned Ning Rangrang. She grew up in the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. There are many young talents in the sect, but there is no one who looks better than Zhang Tianyu. Tianyu. A voice called out, and several people turned to look. It was Tang San. It seemed that he had finished his early morning training, and came to find Zhang Tianyu. Asan, Zhang Tianyu greeted. Aren't you living in the same room with Oscar? Why don't I see Oscar with you? After they parted yesterday, he never saw Oscar again, so he couldn't wait to see what Oscar would look like after his head was bald. Humph, Oscar, don't you always think you are handsome? Now that you have no hair, can you still be handsome? Mentioning Oscar, Tang San immediately showed an expression that he couldn't help laughing. Didn't his sausage truck have an accident yesterday, so he was in a very depressed mood and didn't sleep well the whole night last night? When I came out, I called him, but he said he was too embarrassed to see anyone and would go directly to the playground later. Okay. Zhang Tianyu shrugged. Let's find a place to eat. I know where it is, Tang San said. I walked around here yesterday afternoon. Come on, I'll take you there. Oh, San, you did a good job. Xiao Wu smiled. Tang San smiled innocently. Come with me. Then Zhang Tianyu frowned slightly. If we go directly to the cafeteria, won't we be able to trigger the plot between Mahanjan and Kihua? But no, that was the main plot. Even if they avoided the quarrel between Mahanjan and Kihua, it would definitely be triggered in other ways, and they would definitely meet Mahanjan in other ways. Sure enough, when they were about to reach the cafeteria, an angry fat man came on the sidewalk. Damn it, break up. Why break up? I served her so well, but she wants to break up with me, a heartless woman. Hearing the noise, everyone was stunned, turned around and saw Mahanjan face to face. The moment Mahanjan saw Xiao and Ning Rangrang, the anger on his face disappeared, replaced by a big brother who was about to drool. What beautiful sisters. Mahanjan licked his lips. Well, this must be God helping me. He knew that Kihua and I broke up, so he sent 2 more beautiful sisters to my door. Xiao and Ning Rangrang frowned immediately. Mahanjan wiped his saliva and strode over. Beautiful sisters. Come here. My name is Mahanjan. I'm from here. Clang. A dragon roared, and Huangquan was unsheathed. A black light flashed by, and Mahanjan was shocked. Just as he was about to dodge, Huangquan had stopped in front of him. Then he found that there were 2 men standing next to the 2 beautiful sisters. One of them was very handsome, many times more handsome than him. He was so handsome that it made him angry. But when he saw the other one, his anger subsided. Chapter 42. Boss Day. Save me. Who are you? Mahanjan stared at Zhang Tianyu and Tang San and asked coldly. Zhang Tianyu and Tang San looked at each other and ignored him. Is this your martial spirit? Mahanjan pointed at Huangquan and asked Zhang Tianyu. Zhang Tianyu still ignored him. Mahanjan moved his neck and said shamelessly, I have taken a fancy to these 2 beautiful sisters. You guys go away and don't get in my way, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. Zhang Tianyu shook his head. Just now, he didn't activate the active effect of second soul skill infinite flying sword, but only use the passive ability of the second soul skill. In other words, the speed of the flying sword did not reach the extreme. In this situation, Mahanjan couldn't dodge it, and now he is so shameless to ask them to get out. This fat man is really crazy at the moment. He is so stupid that he has no brains and can't see the situation clearly. Zhang Tianyu waved his hand, and Huangquan flew back to him, floating quietly. I don't know how to roll. Why don't you teach me? Hint, activate the task. The brain is also white. Task goal, defeat Mahanjan and let him know who can be provoked and who can't be provoked. Task reward, reward point plus 100. Hint, Mahanjan is too arrogant and too brainless, so in order to make him have some brains, why don't we trick him? Activate the task, Mahanjan will really thank you. Task goal, tricking Mahanjan and making him have some brains. No limit on the method, no limit on the means, no limit on the consequences. Task reward. Reward point plus 200. Zhang Xiaogang almost died in Bengbu. What does this sentence, "The brain is also white" mean? Huh? What does it mean? This is not what I thought it meant, right? Huh? Boy, you are looking for death. Mahanjan had just broken up, and he was angry. Now seeing Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrong, two high quality beauties, he was even more angry. He urgently needs to vent his anger. Huh? As Mahanjan shouted, everyone suddenly felt a blazing heat. Tang San, Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrong all had a solemn expression on their faces. This fat man didn't seem to be simple. Fire Phoenix martial spirit. Hearing this shout, everyone was stunned. Fire Phoenix martial spirit? Exclamation mark. Sure enough, the next second, a loud cry sounded, with amazing momentum. But when everyone saw the changes in his possession, they were all stunned. There were no wings, only feathers on the two arms. This is not a phoenix, it's just a fat hen. What phoenix? It's just a fat hen. Xiao Wu was the first to laugh out loud, followed by Ning Rangrong. Don't laugh. Who do you say is a fat hen? Mahanjan shouted angrily, and the first soul skill burst out on the spot. A purple-red line of fire flew straight towards Xiao Wu. Zhang Xiaogang raised his hand, and Huang Quan whizzed away, intercepting the light halfway. The moment the light hit Huang Quan, it made a hissing sound and then dissipated. What? Mahanjan was stunned. If the soul skill was blocked, he could accept it, but now, the soul skill was completely dissolved. This person's martial soul is not simple. Mahanjan frowned, and began to examine Zhang Xiaogang carefully. Zhang Xiaogang still had an indifferent expression. Yo, your phoenix spirit skill doesn't look strong. What did you say? Mahanjan was enraged again, and another phoenix fire line shot out. As soon as the fire line flew out, Huang Quan turned into a black light, and flew in front of Zhang Xiaogang, with the tip of the sword facing Mahanjan. While blocking the fire line, it also rushed towards Mahanjan. Mahanjan was startled and quickly dodged. After he dodged and stood firm, he found that Zhang Xiaogang had disappeared from the spot. There were only Tang San, Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrong on the opposite side, looking at him with a puzzled expression. Where did you go? Mahanjan panicked. Your phoenix is really not very good. The voice behind him made Mahanjan tremble all over. He turned around abruptly, and as soon as he turned around, he saw a fist as big as a sandbag. Bang! A punch hit Mahanjan's face directly. Ah! Mahanjan screamed in pain. Before he could react, Zhang Xiaogang kicked him in the butt again and knocked him to the ground. Beat the drowned dog. Zhang Xiaogang rushed up in one step, rode on Mahanjan, and punched him again and again. Damn. The feeling of beating someone with fists is so cool. I told you to tease Xiao. I told you to tease Rangrong. You told us to get out. How can you be so awesome? Fuck you. DNMD. While cursing, Zhang Xiaogang punched down one by one. The more he punched, the happier he felt. Of course, he didn't kill him. If he did, the fat man would be dead. Hearing Zhang Xiaogan's words to vent his anger, Ning Rangrong was immediately moved. He called me Rangrong. That's great. This feeling is so good. Ah. Mahanjan was in extreme pain and struggled hard, but Zhang Xiaogang was now a soul master, and he suppressed Mahanjan as easily as playing. Especially Mahanjan had no melee skills at all, and his only attack skill was the first soul skill Phoenix Fireline. His second soul skill was just an auxiliary soul skill. Zhang Xiaogang bullied him, because he had no melee ability and beat him. Punch after punch. Ah. I'm going to kill you. Mahanjan burst into anger, and a blazing temperature surged all over his body. However, Zhang Xiaogang was not afraid at all. The Black Death aura emanating from Huang Quan was colder than that kind of ice, and Mahanjan's blazing temperature was just a drop in the bucket for him. Still want to kill me? Come on if you dare. Come on. Bang bang bang. A few more punches were thrown down. Mahanjan could only lie on the ground helpless and furious. He had no means to counter Zhang Xiaogang at all. Then he was horrified to find that the temperature of his body was constantly dropping. He looked up suddenly and saw the black sword stuck in the ground in front of him. This black sword was strangely emitting extremely cold black air. This black air not only suppressed the fire in his body, making his body temperature lower and lower, but also had a tendency to almost freeze him. What kind of martial spirit is this? So scary. Do you accept it? Do you accept it? Zhang Tianyu asked while beating him. Will this hurt him? Ning Rangrang asked. Don't worry, Tianyu knows his limits. Xiao Wu smiled. Mahanjan really wanted to cry, but had no tears at this time. The feeling of being unable to resist was too uncomfortable and painful. You are here. Oh, Tianyu, what are you doing? Mahanjan's savior Damubei finally appeared. Hearing this voice, Mahanjan couldn't care about anything else. He raised his face covered with mud and cried, Boss Day, save me, save me. Chapter 43 Damubei collapsed. Damubei could see clearly that the person being beaten crazily by Zhang Tianyu was none other than Mahanjan. At this moment, Zhang Tianyu was still riding on Mahanjan and punching him non-stop, punch after punch, cursing as he beat him. I told you not to update. I told you to be a eunuch. I told you to enter the palace. I told you to be the chief steward. You're not going to write a stupid novel in the second part. Everyone. What is he mumbling? Tianyu. Hey. Tianyu, stop it. Damubei was stunned for a while and quickly recovered, rushed over to stop Zhang Tianyu. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. With Damubei's obstruction, Zhang Tianyu finally stopped, stood up and asked, what are you doing? I'm not satisfied yet. What's the point of satisfying? They're all our own people. Damubei was sweating wildly. Mahanjan was beaten into a pig's head by you, and you're not satisfied yet? What do you mean by our own people? Tang San asked. Damubei helped Mahanjan up and looked him up and down. Well, he was quite fat before, and now he is even fatter. Didn't I tell you yesterday that before you came, there were only 3 students in our academy? You have met Oscar and me, and this is the 3rd student, Mahanjan. Everyone was stunned. Him. Xiao Wu pinched her waist. Hey, I found that this academy seems to be full of hooligans. You are enough, but this fat guy is even worse than you. When he saw Rangrang and me, he flirted with us without saying a word. I think the academy should just change its name to the Rogue Academy. Damubei sweated again. If others dared to say this, he would teach them a lesson in minutes. But when Xiao Wu said this, he really had no temper, because Xiao Wu was Zhang Tianyu's person, and he couldn't beat Zhang Tianyu. After the embarrassment, Damubei showed an expression of sudden realization. Oh, I know, fatty, no wonder you were beaten. It turned out that you teased her. Mahanjan also realized the seriousness of the matter at this time, and said with a pained face, hey, you don't know, Kaha just broke up with me this morning, and I had a belly full of anger, and had nowhere to vent, so I saw these 2 beautiful girls. Xiao Wu and Ning Rangrang glared. Ahem. Mahanjan quickly glanced at Zhang Tianyu with a face full of fear, and changed his words. I saw that these 2 school sisters were very beautiful as fairies, so I couldn't help it for a moment. Damubei shook his head and smiled. Hey, you really deserve it. I told you very clearly yesterday that among the new students, there is a student who is very powerful. Teacher Zhao personally came out to test him, and didn't get any good results. I asked you to be careful, and not be too ostentatious. It seems that you didn't remember it at all. Mahanjan looked at Zhang Tianyu. Could it be that he made Teacher Zhao suffer? Damubei nodded. Let me introduce you. This is Mahanjan. These are. After the introduction, Mahanjan was so shocked. Damn, I heard that this guy's good, but I didn't expect him to be so good. What I didn't expect was that we met so soon, and in this way. Since we are classmates, I won't say much. Zhang Tianyu patted the dirt on his hands. We are all classmates, so we should respect our classmates in the future. Mahanjan muttered. Respect? Respect for beating me like this, isn't it? Because you didn't respect us first. Xiao Wu raised her eyebrows. Okay, let's go eat. Damubei hurried to be a peacemaker. Watching Zhang Tianyu and others leave, Damubei quickly came to Mahanjan and whispered, why did you provoke him? I can't even beat him. Mahanjan sighed. Oh, how would I know it was him? If I knew it was him, how could I dare to tease them? I think you are crazy. Damubei scolded angrily. I told you very clearly, there are only 2 male freshmen in total. Weren't those 2 new faces just now? You have a pig brain. Can't you think for yourself? Hey, don't scold me. I'm going to change my clothes and wash my face. Hurry up, don't delay dinner. When they arrived at the cafeteria, Zhu Zuking was already eating. Seeing everyone coming, she looked up with a bit of indifference, then continued to eat with her head down. Damu Bei was disappointed. Zhu Zuking didn't even look at him. While eating, Damu Bei casually told Zhang Tianyu and others about Ma Hanjin's characteristics. After listening, everyone was stunned. There is such a thing. Tang San was very surprised. After all, he is a hooligan who harms girls. Zhao Wu scolded. No wonder you two live in the same dormitory. Zhang Tianyu said, is it convenient to exchange experiences? Everyone was stunned, and Damu Bei's face changed immediately. Tang San asked very simply, what exchange of experiences? Zhang Tianyu also answered very simply, it's just exchanging experiences on how to harm girls. You didn't know before that old day hugged a pair of twins. Zhao Wu chuckled, shhhhhh. Damu Bei rushed to Zhang Tianyu like a flash of lightning and made a gesture of silence to Zhang Tianyu with a panicked look on his face, and at the same time, kept winking at the direction of Zhu Zuking behind him. Looking at that, he almost peed. Zhang Tianyu glanced at Zhu Zuking in confusion, then he suddenly realized something, and then apologized. The fat guy was hugging a pair of twins, before he was interrupted by Zhao Wu, before he finished speaking. When did the fat guy hug the twins? Wasn't it Damu Bei who hugged them? He also snatched the hotel room from us, and the hotel room was booked by him for a long time. Cut. I don't know how much trouble he has caused shhhhhh. Damu Bei was about to cry, rushed to Zhao Wu, and begged in a low voice, Zhao Wu, auntie, stop talking. I beg you. I kneel down for you. Seeing him like this, Zhao Wu also coughed and stopped talking. Damu Bei wiped the sweat from his forehead, turned around to look at Zhu Zuking, and saw that Zhu Zuking was always eating with a cold face. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Zhang Tianyu and Zhao Wu are really my nemesis. The atmosphere was awkward, as if it had frozen. Coincidentally, at this moment, Ma Hanjin, who had changed into new clothes, walked in and broke the awkwardness. Boss Day, why are you standing here without eating? Aren't I talking about you? Talking about your evil fire. Damu Bei said quickly. When it comes to evil fire, Ma Hanjin immediately got angry again and said unhappily, damn, I don't need to guess to know that you must have bad words. If I could be like you and Zhao Ao, with a bio face, I could date multiple girlfriends at the same time. Why would it be like this? You. Damu Bei exploded instantly. I finally stabilized the situation and made them shut up, and you started to expose my past again. Exclamation mark. He glared at Ma Hanjin with gritted teeth. Fatty, don't talk nonsense. When did I date multiple girlfriends? I warn you. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say anything you want. Ma Hanjin smiled and said, aren't you always proud of it instead of being ashamed? What's wrong with you today? Did you take the wrong medicine? Chapter 44 Oscar is bald. Tang San got beaten. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll kill you. Damu Bei said angrily, while winking at Ma Hanjin. However, Ma Hanjin seemed to not understand his look at all and said, what nonsense am I talking about? You have been having fun with the twins these days without calling me. Zhao Wu couldn't help but burst out laughing. Let us not say it, okay? We will give you face and not say it. But this fat guy obviously doesn't give you face. You. Damu Bei felt that his reason was about to collapse. At this moment, he really thought that Zhang Tianyu's beating just now was beautiful. Why didn't he beat this fat guy to death? However, as soon as he said a word, Zhu Zuking put down the bowl, turned around and left the cafeteria indifferently. She didn't even look at Damu Bei at all the time. Watching her back go away, Damu Bei was like a deflated ball and suddenly collapsed on the chair. It's over. It's all over. What's wrong, Boss Day? You are so strange today. Ma Hanjin still didn't react and asked without knowing whether to live or die. Damu Bei jumped up and grabbed his neck fiercely. You fat man, are you stupid? I told you to stop talking, but you kept talking. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Cough cough cough. Ah, I'm dying, dying, dying. Mahanjan rolled his eyes wildly. Daemube let go of his hands weakly and slumped in the chair. Now even if he strangled Mahanjan to death, it would be of no use. Mahanjan realized something belatedly. He turned his head to look in the direction where Zhu Zuking left and asked, Boss Day, you are not trying to fuck that woman, are you? Hey, why didn't you say it earlier? Ah, why didn't you say it earlier? You should have said it earlier. Don't worry, we will all say good things about you in front of her in the future. Daemube looked at him with a look of a zealot. Don't you think it's too late? Daemube looked very pitiful at the moment, but no one felt sorry for him because he deserved it. Daemube had no appetite for the rest of the meal, but everyone else ate very well, including Mahanjan. When everyone had almost finished eating, the assembly bell rang. Daemube finally shook off his decadence and said, this is the bell for the dean to gather everyone. Let's go. Mahanjan also hurriedly said, the dean doesn't like people to be late. Hurry up. The group quickly came to the playground to assemble. When they arrived at the playground, the first thing they saw was a shiny bald head. Bright, very bright, very bright. Reflecting the sunlight, it was like a glowing flare. That's right. This shiny big bald head is Oscar. Ah, seeing this bald head, my mood instantly improved 10,000 times. You don't have to guess. Oscar must have a shaved head, because after his sausage truck burned yesterday, his entire back of the head was bald. It's impossible for him to have hair in the front and a bald back, right? That would be uglier and more awkward, so he simply shaved his head. Oscar wanted to die now with a big bald head in front of the new students and students, showing such an ugly side. Well, after tricking Oscar, the next one is naturally Tang San. The protagonists of the two tasks are Tang San and Mahanjan. Zhang Tianyu has not forgotten them. Flanders walked over. Zhang Tianyu's eyes lit up. Now, aim at Tang San and use the prop, heart language. Use it successfully. Tang San will speak his mind uncontrollably for a period of time and the next period of time, and the effect of bad mouth will be amplified. With the effect of confusion of consciousness, Tang San will not realize that he has spoken his mind, let alone realize that he has cursed. Tang San was stunned when he saw Flanders. Isn't this the profiteer he met a few days ago? What is he doing here? Could he be the dean? Flanders walked to the 8 students and stopped. His unique hoarse voice with a bit of magnetism rang out. This year is great. We have 5 more little monsters. I, Flanders, the Dean of Shrek Academy, welcome you on behalf of the Academy. Later, each of you will hand over 100 gold coins to Mr. Lee, who is in charge of finance. Mubei. Just after the voice fell, before Daemube could speak, Tang San suddenly said, so you, a profiteer, are really the dean of this academy. As soon as these words came out, they were shocking. All 4 seats were shocked. The whole place was silent. Daemube was stunned. Oscar widened his eyes in horror. Zhang Tianyu, Ning Rangrong, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking were all confused. That's right, the expression on Zhu Zuking's face, who always had an indifferent face, finally changed. Mahanjan was the first to react, looking at Tang San unceremoniously. Hey, what are you talking about? Zhang Tianyu then remembered that Mahanjan was Flanders' student, so it was normal for Mahanjan to stand up and accuse Tang San at this time. I said he was a bastard profiteer. That's right, he just cheated me of hundreds of gold soul coins a few days ago. Tang San pointed at Flanders and said, you. Just as Mahanjan was about to make a move, Flanders immediately said, Hanjan. Mahanjan took a deep breath and stepped aside. Flanders walked up to Tang San. I clearly marked the price. If you think it's too expensive, you can choose not to buy it. Why do you say I'm a profiteer who cheated you and scold me? Let's not talk about anything else. Now you have entered the academy, and I'm your dean. You should at least respect me, right? Although Flanders' tone was relatively calm, everyone could see that he was very angry at the moment. Let go of you, you idiot. Did I scold you? Tang San looked directly at Flanders. You idiot. You changed the price several times, raising it again and again. You just want to buy it because you want to rip me off? You are a profiteer, and that's even worse. Bang. Before Tang San finished speaking, he was directly knocked away by Flanders. Bang. Tang San's back hit the wall of a small house hard, and he fainted on the spot. Flanders' strength is much stronger than that of Director Su at the time. Mu Bei. Here. Dean. Mu Bei was startled and responded immediately. Throw him out. Flanders said angrily, even if he is a genius, even if he is a monster, if he doesn't know how to respect his teacher, the academy will not accept him. This is it. Mu Bei glanced at Zhang Tianyu. He knew that Tang San was Zhang Tianyu's good friend, but there was nothing he could do now. Everyone saw that it was Tang San who was disrespectful to Flanders first. Wait a minute, Dean. Zhang Tianyu said immediately. We came here with Tang San. It was the master who recommended Tang San to come here. Dean. Do you know the master? Master? Flanders was stunned immediately. Yu Xiaogang? Did Yu Xiaogang ask him to come here? Zhang Tianyu and Zhao Wu nodded quickly. Tang San worships the master as his master. Flanders frowned, was silent for a few seconds, and said, don't chase him away for now. Mu Bei, wake him up. I have something to ask him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 45. Is Tang San a bit foul-mouthed? As early as when he saw Tang San's belt, Flanders guessed that Tang San and Yu Xiaogang might have some relationship. Of course, it is also possible that Yu Xiaogang has been killed by someone else, and the belt has been passed on to someone else. Now after hearing what Zhang Tianyu and Zhao Wu said, he finally confirmed that Yu Xiaogang was not dead, and he became Tang San's teacher. When Tang San woke up, he saw a group of people with various expressions and eyes. What's wrong with me? Tang San touched the back of his head and felt a little dizzy. No one around answered. Flanders asked, Tang San, I want to ask you, I heard that your teacher is Yu Xiaogang, right? Yes, by the way, the teacher also gave me a letter and asked me to give it to the dean. As he said, Tang San took out the letter that Yu Xiaogang gave him from his arms and handed it to Flanders. Flanders frowned and looked at him. Well, it seems that this kid is no longer foul-mouthed, and he seems to have forgotten what happened just now. Tang San did forget what happened just now, because his mind is still buzzing. The reason why he doesn't have a foul mouth is that Zhang Tianyu temporarily suspended the effect of the item, Heart Language. The effect of this item can last for 24 hours. During this duration, Zhang Tianyu can interrupt the effect 4 times. The time of each interruption is unlimited, and the effect can be restored at any time. Flanders no longer paid attention to Tang San, took the letter and quickly walked aside to read it. When reading the letter, his expression kept changing. Sincerely, Yu Xiaogang. Oh, by the way, my student Tang San has a bit of a foul mouth. Please bear with me. Flanders, Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang, is Tang San's mouth a bit foul? It's very foul. How did he survive until now? Didn't he get beaten to death with such a foul mouth? This is a miracle. Since you are Xiaogang's student, I won't say anything more. I won't pursue the fact that you were disrespectful to me just now. Flanders put away the letter. But Tang San, listen to me. In Shrek, I don't care if you are a super genius or a monster. If you want to learn and practice here, you must respect your teacher and respect your teacher. If you speak rudely again, even if you are Yu Xiaogang's student, I will not be polite. Remember it. Yes, Dean. Contrary to Zhang Tianyu's expectations, Tang San didn't say anything to Flanders. It seems that he also saw that Flanders and Yu Xiaogang had a special relationship, and it's good that way. Flanders has said so much. If Tang San continues to say something to him in front of so many people, Flanders will probably explode instantly. Maybe he will not care about Yu Xiaogang's face and drive Tang San away directly. If Tang San is driven away, Yu Xiaogang will not come here again. If Tang San stays here, it will be much less fun. So it's good that Tang San has a sense of propriety. That's it. Flanders' mood was a bit complicated. On the one hand, he was happy that Yu Xiaogang, who had not contacted him for many years, finally contacted him again. On the other hand, he was depressed because of Tang San's foul mouth. Today's class will be held in the evening. Everyone except Oscar and Ning Rangrong go back to rest and gather again in the evening. Okay, you can leave now. Others didn't understand why Oscar and Ning Rangrong were left alone, but after experiencing Tang San's foul mouth, everyone clearly felt that Flanders was in a bad mood at the moment, so they didn't dare to say much and left quickly. Soon, only Ning Rangrong and Oscar were left. If Oscar still had hair, he would definitely be very happy to be able to take classes alone with Ning Rangrong at this moment. Unfortunately, he has no hair now. This made him very depressed. Yu Xiaogang can turn into JJ Lin with a wig, so you can imagine the importance of hairstyle. It's uncomfortable to have a bald head now, especially seeing Ning Rangrong looking at his bald head from time to time and showing an ambiguous smile. He was so embarrassed that he could almost dig out a villa. Your mission today is. The others went back to their dormitories. Zhang Tianyu had just returned to the dormitory when there was a knock on the door. He opened it and saw it was Dame Yubei. Xiaogang, what's going on with that kid Tang San? Dame Yubei asked as soon as he entered the door. Zhang Tianyu sighed and shrugged. Alas, he is just like that. The first day I met him, he was beaten by a teacher at Notting College because of what he said inappropriately. Dame Yubei was confused. Hasn't he changed this bad habit over the years? Zhang Tianyu looked at Dame Yubei with a look of madness. What you said, if he had changed, would he still be beaten just now? Dame Yubei felt a little annoyed. He will suffer a great loss in the future. Who said it wasn't? As his good friend, I have reminded him many times, but he just can't change. Alas, I can't do anything about it. Dame Yubei said, you don't know, Fatty is the dean's student, so Tang San was disrespectful to the dean, and Fatty was very angry. Zhang Tianyu said, then please explain to him later. Actually, Asan didn't have any bad intentions. I think his mouth is just a habitual colloquialism. We are all classmates in the future, so please be more tolerant. You're welcome. Dame Yubei smiled. Tang San is so lucky to have a good friend like you. Zhang Tianyu beat Ma Hangjin without mercy, but he was willing to say good things for Tang San to surrender. This is a real good friend and brother. Being able to be good friends with such a person is definitely beneficial and harmless. That's right, we will all be friends in the future. Zhang Tianyu smiled. Okay. Dame Yubei smiled. Let's go out for a drink together in a few days. After seeing Dame Yubei off, less than half a minute later, the door was knocked again. Seeing Xiao Wu standing outside the door, Zhang Tianyu was not surprised at all. Don't you want to go to Soto City for a stroll again? No, Xiao Wu stuck out her tongue. After all, I have classes tonight, and I want to practice with you, just like before in Notting College. There are some bamboos planted outside the door of Zhang Tianyu's dormitory, and next to the bamboo is a huge bluestone, which is very flat. The two sat on it and began to meditate quietly. Xiao Wu was really meditating, and Zhang Tianyu spent 10 reward points to let the system play a movie. If he didn't watch the movie, he would fall asleep. Meditation is hundreds of times more effective in helping people sleep than math classes. A pretty figure appeared not far away, staring at the two people sitting on the bluestone. Soon the movie was over, but it was still early, so Zhang Tianyu didn't watch the next one. People need to combine work and rest, and they have to work after resting, so Zhang Tianyu began to think seriously about how to trick Ma Hangjin and Zhu Zuking next. Chapter 46. Phoenix dances in the sky. You have to use professional tricks to trick people. For example, Oscar is very confident about his appearance, so you can trick him into a bald head and let him be hit hard. Ning Rangrong cares a lot about her appearance, so let her appearance become a mess. So how should Ma Hangjin and Zhu Zuking use professional tricks? And you can't be too cruel when tricking Zhu Zuking. You have to make it happen. Good guy. If there is no difficulty, create difficulty. But Zhu Zuking is really not easy to deal with, so let's deal with Ma Hangjin first. After a series of thoughts, Zhang Tianyu has come up with a way to deal with Ma Hangjin. Doesn't Ma Hangjin often have evil fire? Doesn't he need to find a girl to relieve his fire? Doesn't he do it 3 or 4 times a day? Doesn't he claim to be very powerful? Okay, then I will make your ability a little more powerful. Looking at the props that have been tried and redeemed and are quietly lying in the inventory, Zhang Xiaogang smiled happily. When practicing with Xiao Wu, time goes slowly. Fortunately, Xiao Wu went back to the dormitory after lunch, so the afternoon passed quickly. In the evening, everyone came to the playground together. Oscar was sweating and panting. Ning Rangrang was also sweating and looked very tired. I didn't see it when I read novels and cartoons before. Now I see it with my own eyes. I know that Ning Rangrang is also a good actor. If I hadn't used the live map to check Ning Rangrang's position during the day, Zhang Xiaogang would not have known that she didn't go running just by looking at Ning Rangrang's current appearance. Oscar, have you finished running 20 laps? Flanders' eyes gave people a sharp feeling, and people dared not look at him. Oscar coughed, took a breath and said, Dean, I'm done. Flanders snorted coldly, I'm asking you, not you. Oscar turned his head to look at Ning Rangrang, who was also looking at him, with a pair of beautiful big eyes full of light reflected by the bald head. Oscar gritted his teeth, nodded, and said, yes, we have all finished running. Flanders showed a sinister smile and patted Oscar's shoulder with his right hand. I admire your spirit of friendship. In this case, you should run another 20 laps to show me how deep your friendship is. If you don't finish running, you don't have to eat. I have sealed your soul power. Don't try to remove it. Go. Oscar said nothing, stared at a large light bulb reflecting light, and ran away silently. Flanders looked at everyone. Lying is the worst character. I hope you understand. Everyone nodded quickly. Zhang Xiaogang nodded on the surface, but sneered in his heart. Lies are the worst character? Whoever believes this sentence is stupid. Look at those who are doing well now. Which one of them is telling the truth? Of course, telling lies is not good either. That is courting death. If you really want to do well, you have to speak to people in a human way, and to ghosts in a ghost way. Finally, Flanders looked at Ning Rangrang. Tell me, have you finished the lessons I assigned this morning? Ning Rangrang looked at him, and probably knew that he had seen through her, so she simply stopped pretending. After several conversations with Flanders, she directly exposed her witch nature. Flanders, who do you think you are? You are just a little soul saint. Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned again. Good guy. This year's freshmen are so fierce. During the day, Tang San scolded Flanders, and at night, Ning Rangrang scolded Flanders again. Is it popular to scold the dean this year, or what? But because Ning Rangrang didn't swear like Tang San, Flanders wasn't that angry either. He just said some harsh words to Ning Rangrang. Everyone here is more talented than you. Daimyu Bei, 15 years old, 37th level. He was only 13 years old when he reached the Soul Master. Look at this one. He's even more heavyweight. Flanders pointed at Zhang Xiaogang. He's only 12 years old, but he's already a Soul Master who's not inferior to Daimyu Bei. Can you compare to him? Ning Rangrang glanced at Zhang Xiaogang. She was really impressed by Zhang Xiaogang. The level and strength were there. But Ning Rangrang was not convinced by others. What about Oscar? How can I be better than him? He's also an auxiliary soul master, just a small food type soul master. He can't be as good as me, right? You're wrong. Oscar is an innate food type soul master with full soul power. What? Ning Rangrang was shocked. How could there be an innate full soul power auxiliary martial soul? Do you understand now? You are the bottom here. Except for your background, there is nothing you can compare to others. These words were like thunderbolts that shattered Ning Rangrang's pride. She couldn't stand it anymore, burst into tears, and turned to run away. Let her think about it quietly. The rest of you, follow me. On the way to Soto City, Flanders was very fast. In the original plot, Daimyu Bei followed closely behind him, then Zhu Zuking, Tang San Xiao, and finally Ma Hongjin. But now, Zhang Xiaogang flew directly beside him on his sword. He glanced at Zhang Xiaogang and suddenly accelerated his speed. In an instant, he left Daimyu Bei and others far behind. He looked proud. Humph, boy, compete with me in speed. Ah, what did you say, Dean? Fuck. Flanders was startled and looked to the side suddenly, only to find that Zhang Xiaogang was still following him leisurely. Dean, should we slow down a little? They can't keep up. Zhang Xiaogang kindly reminded. I know, you don't need to remind me. Flanders rolled his eyes and slowed down. 10 seconds later, Damu Bay and others followed. They ran all the way to the south gate of Soto City. Flanders and Zhang Xianyu looked relaxed, while the others were a little out of breath. The distance was not far, but the speed was too fast and the exercise was too intense, so they couldn't control themselves. Your first class will be held there. Flanders pointed to the huge fighting spirit arena at a tea stall on the roadside in Soto City. Then, Flanders introduced the big fighting spirit arena and the level of fighting spirit badges in it to everyone, and finally said, "The task I give you is to get the silver fighting spirit badge before graduation." "Yes, Dean." Everyone answered in unison, because they had heard Damube say it before, so they didn't find it strange. Then Damube explained some rules and routines of fighting spirits. It was almost time, so everyone got up and walked towards the big fighting spirit arena. First, complete the soul power test and registration. Zhang Xianyu and Zhao Wu will naturally form a duo. He has already thought of a name. Of course, this time it will not be called Battle Spirit Heaven Dance, but Phoenix Dance 9 Heavens. Come on, let's get excited. Chapter 47 The Fastest Man. Welcome to the Soto City Soul Fighting Arena. The host's loud and clear voice resounded throughout the arena. In the next one-on-one match, the player who will appear is Zeman Chuksu, the Soul Master with the Weapon Spirit Uanquin, against Wu Tao, the Soul Master with the Beast Spirit Gale Lynx, who has won 3 games in a row. In the spectator seats, the others who had already finished the game looked at the arena with some annoyance, and then looked at Zhao Wu. Damube asked, "Why doesn't Xianyu use his real name?" "He doesn't like to use his real name." Zhao Wu shrugged. "Anyway, there is no rule that requires using real names, right? In fact, in the original plot, everyone used their real names when they fought their souls at the beginning, and no one cared about anything else. It was not until later, when Yu Xiaogang came and assigned numbers to everyone and asked everyone to play in team competitions together, that people began to pay attention to this. Then they asked everyone to wear masks and use code names instead of real names. Zhang Xianyu wanted to keep a low profile, mainly because he was too young and too high ranking. Although he was not targeted in his previous life, what if something happened in this life? So he simply used a code name to avoid trouble. Applause broke out in the audience, and many people shouted the name Wu Tao. Obviously, Wu Tao, who won 3 games in a row, has gained some popularity. That's great. Zhang Xianyu likes to beat up idols, especially in front of fans. Both sides came on the court. Wu Tao was a man who looked very energetic. He looked okay, with regular facial features. He looked less than 40 years old. He was dressed in black, and had a tall and well-proportioned figure. Zhang Xianyu nodded secretly. No wonder he was a little popular. First of all, his appearance was not bad. At least he was much better looking than Tang San. Looking at Zhang Xianyu with long hair and a strange mask, Wu Tao didn't say anything, but the audience started to talk nonsense. What's wrong with this guy? Why does he wear a mask? He's too ashamed to see people. Zeman Chuksu, the name makes me sick. Wu Tao, come on. Get rid of him. Wu Tao, I bet on you to win. Hurry up and win 4 games in a row. In today's game, will Zeman Chuksu be the first to win? Or will Wu Tao be the 4th to win? Let's wait and see. Both players, get ready. Let the game begin. As soon as the host finished speaking, a gust of wind suddenly blew up on the ring. At this moment, Wu Tao had completed the possession of the martial spirit. His muscles became more symmetrical and swollen, and his face took on a wildness like a beast, with several fangs squeezed out of his lips. "Well, this possession is really a bit like Zhu Xiaogang," said Zhang Xianyu. "This cat-like martial spirit feels more handsome after being possessed." "Change it for you?" asked the system. "Forget it." Zhang Xianyu raised his hand. "I still like my 2 swords more." Huangquan appeared silently behind Zhang Xianyu, floating quietly. Wu Tao's first soul ring lit up, and he jumped up and rushed towards Zhang Xianyu. At the same time, 2 identical Wu Taos appeared in the other 2 directions. 3 Wu Taos rushed towards Zhang Xianyu from 3 different directions. This is Wu Tao's first soul skill, triple attack. In midair, Wu Tao's second soul ring lit up, and in an instant, his already fast speed became even faster. Then his third soul ring lit up again, and the three Wu Taos opened their mouths at the same time, spewing out 3 small tornadoes, rolling straight towards Zhang Xianyu. All of a sudden, Zhang Xianyu had to face attacks from 6 directions at the same time. Zhang Xianyu looked at the upcoming attack and still didn't move. Hey, are you going to fight or not? Are you scared, silly bastard? If you don't want to fight, get out of here. What are you pretending to be by standing there? Wu Tao, kill him. Zhang Xianyu pretended not to hear the bullshit from the audience. These guys don't know anything. They are just a bunch of brainless idiots who can only bark like blind dogs. After Zhang Xianyu kills Wu Tao, they will immediately become Zhang Xianyu's fans and come to lick his ass. For such idiots, if you take them seriously, you will lose. On Shrek's side, what is this kid doing? Why isn't he moving? Flanders frowned. Attacked from 6 directions at the same time, it will be very dangerous if he doesn't move like this. Damu Bei said. Xiaowu and Tang San didn't say anything. Of course they knew the danger. Zhang Xianyu is not stupid, he must know it too, so he must have his reasons for his reaction now. Zhang Xianyu smiled in his heart and said, this guy really values me. He went all out right away and planned to kill me in 1 second. It feels good to be valued by others, so as a return gift, Zhang Xianyu raised his hand, and in an instant, black light flashed on the ring. Bang, bang, bang. 5 consecutive explosions sounded, and Wu Tao's 2 clones and 3 tornadoes were all destroyed. Wu Tao's original body was so scared that he braked on the spot. The howling of the audience also stopped. Shrek and others all widened their eyes. How did he do this? Exclamation mark. Ah, what's wrong? What happened just now? How did the 2 clones and 3 tornadoes disappear in an instant? Wu Tao was the most confused. As the person who faced Zhang Xianyu on the ring, he suddenly had an illusion that his head and body were separated at the moment when the clone and tornado disappeared just now. By the time he reacted, his clothes were already soaked with cold sweat. Looking at the second soul ring that lit up on Zhang Xianyu's body, Wu Tao understood instantly. This demon Chuksu is very strong. Very strong. Although he is at the same level as him, both are only soul masters, but the difference in strength is like the difference between heaven and earth. He used all 3 soul skills, while the other party only used the second soul skill. Moreover, the second soul skill just now had enough chance to kill him instantly, but the other party only knocked down his clone and tornado. This is mercy. Thinking of this, he released the martial soul possession and clasped his fists towards Zhang Xianyu. Thank you for your mercy, I admit defeat. Zhang Xianyu also clasped his fists, said nothing, and turned away. First match. Zeman Chuksu won. The host finally reacted and announced loudly, damn. What happened? How did you lose? How did you win? What happened just now? How come all the soul skills disappeared in an instant? Is it a fake match? Wu Tao, did you fake the match? Wu Tao didn't even look at the audience. Although these people cheered for him before, he was extremely annoyed by this group of people. After taking a deep look at Zhang Xianyu's back, he turned and left. How was it? Did I perform well? Zhang Xianyu smiled as he came to the Shrek people. More than just okay, it was amazing. Xiao Wu smiled, broken the soul skills in an instant, fast. It was so fast. Damu Bei was full of admiration. Xianyu, I feel that from now on, you may be the fastest man in Shrek. Zhang Xianyu. Chapter 48. The opponents are actually sisters? To enter competition. In the spectator booth, Damu Bei looked worried. Sure enough, the opponents they matched were both soul lords. Are they really okay? Mahanjan said. I think they should be okay. Tang San said. Xianyu's strength is not comparable to that of an ordinary soul lord. Teacher once said that, because of the mutation of his martial soul, Xianyu's strength cannot be measured only by his soul power level. Although he is only soul lord now, he can basically remain invincible even when facing a soul sect. Everyone showed surprised expressions, and even Zhu's Yuking couldn't help but be surprised. It makes sense that Xiaogang can give him such a high evaluation. Flanders said, from the battle against Wu Tao just now, it can be seen that Zhang Xianyu's strength really cannot be measured only by level. But nothing is absolute. Flanders continued, if Zhang Xianyu meets someone who can restrain him, it's hard to say. Tang San nodded. Teacher also said something similar. One thing subdues another. No one can be truly invincible. Even those extreme Douluo have the ability to restrain each other. Flanders looked at Tang San. Look, isn't it good that you don't swear now? Why do you swear? Tang San looked embarrassed. Sorry, Dean. That's my old habit, and I really can't change it. I won't swear easily when I have nothing to do on weekdays, but once I'm upset, I can't help but say it. Flanders didn't say anything. The 7th match of 2-on-2. Fengwu Jiushan combination. Fighting. Binghuo's Haij combination. At the same time, the information of the members of both sides was displayed on the big screen. When everyone saw that Fengwu Jiushan actually had another great soul master, many people were stunned, including the host. There was a strange scene in today's game. Fengwu Jiushan combination actually had a great soul master. Damn, is this combination sick? Great soul master and soul master combination? Awesome. You are really not afraid of death. It's going to be exciting now. I hope she won't be beaten too badly later. When they saw that the great soul master was a girl, many people showed complicated expressions. Many people don't want to see delicate and weak girls being beaten, but many people especially like to see girls being abused. From this, it can be judged that those people are perverts. However, like everyone else, Zhang Xianyu was also in a state of confusion at this moment. Binghuo's Haij combination. Looking at the information on the big screen, it was the twins who were awarded for the task that he defeated Daimyu Bei not long ago, Hangyu and Lanyu. What the hell? A few days ago, he used the system's instructions to let the two sisters come to the Great Fighting Soul Arena to sign up for the competition. On the one hand, he could earn some extra money, and on the other hand, he could improve the sisters' actual combat ability. However, he didn't expect that they would meet these two people in their first match as a team. Wow. What kind of fate is this? At the same time, after the initial confusion, the audience soon burst into cheers. Song of Ice and Fire. Song of Ice and Fire. Red Moon. Red Moon. Blue Moon. Blue Moon. The information on the big screen showed that the two sisters had come here to participate in 3 consecutive games and won 3 consecutive victories. There was no way. Although their actual combat ability was a little worse, their soul ring configuration and soul skill configuration were the best. Of course, the system produced the best configuration. Super strong strength, coupled with beautiful looks and explosive bodies, made them gain a large number of fans after just 3 consecutive victories. The fans are basically dominated by men. As the two slender figures walked onto the ring, the cheers were even more deafening. Wow. Beautiful women. In the spectator booth, Mahanjan's eyes widened, and his saliva almost spurted out. Hangyu and Lanyu are not only beautiful women, but also have their own styles. Hangyu is plump and attractive, and Lanyu is well proportioned and beautiful. Not only Mahanjan, but even Daimyu Bei's eyes were straight. Damn, this pair of twins is simply the best. Compared with this pair of twins, the quality of the previous pair of twins is simply unbearable to look at. Thinking about it, Daimyu Bei's face couldn't help but reveal a trace of greed and desire. The next second he quickly reacted and hurriedly looked at ZHU Zuking on the side, but found that ZHU Zuking didn't look at him at all, still staring at the ring. Before Daimyu Bei could breathe a sigh of relief, disgusting. ZHU Zuking's voice reached his ears. He was shocked all over. Obviously, the scene of his loss of composure just now had been seen by ZHU Zuking. Daimyu Bei sighed in his heart. Why can't I control myself? Damn it. Now, both sides of the competition, please get ready. What a great pair of sisters. Mahanjan's eyes lit up. If only. Flanders tapped him on the head. Before you say yai, take a look at their level and strength, and then think about whether you are worthy of it. Mahanjan immediately wilted. Yes, teacher. The sisters are both soul masters, and he is just a small great soul master. Come on, Hangyu. Come on, Lanyu. Defeat them. Come on, come on. The cheers were deafening. Competition. Start. Before the host finished speaking, Hangyu suddenly shouted at Zhang Xianyu, Master. Lan Yu was also stunned and then quickly reacted. Master, it's really you. Host, audience, Shrek people. Ah, what? What happened? The sisters are actually calling Zhang Tianyu the master? Exclamation mark. Xiao Wu was also stunned, then frowned and looked at Zhang Tianyu on the side with suspicion. Zhang Tianyu was extremely upset. He had already told the system to tell the two not to reveal their relationship with him. How could these two idiots still recognize the master in front of so many people? Isn't this roasting him on the fire? How can he date Xiao Wu and Zhu Xiaogang in the future? Ah. A shocking scene suddenly happened on the scene. The host exclaimed. The two sisters of the Song of Ice and Fire actually called Zeman Chuksu from the Fengwujiushan group the master. What is going on? What happened? Do they know each other? What's going on with this inexplicable master-servant relationship? In the audience, many fans have exploded. Their dream lover, the White Lotus and Red Lotus in their hearts, their goddess of destiny. Actually, in public, she openly called a man master? Exclamation mark. Their hearts seemed to be stabbed with countless knives. It hurt so much that they couldn't breathe. Hurry up and tell them to shut up. Just say you got the wrong person. Zhang Tianyu said hurriedly in his heart. At the same time, he said calmly on the surface, you got the wrong person, right? I don't know you. Chapter 49 Master, hello. Hangai was about to continue speaking, but suddenly her expression froze, and then she said, ah, it seems that I did recognize the wrong person. Zhang Tianyu was relieved. Xiao Wu poked Zhang Tianyu with her elbow. Hey, aren't you disappointed? Zhang Tianyu asked, why should I be disappointed? Such beautiful sisters, more beautiful than the twins that Dame Yubei was with at the beginning, and they are twins with different styles. Wouldn't you be disappointed if you can't be their master? Zhang Tianyu rolled his eyes at her. Don't you understand me? Would I care about such things? Xiao Wu pouted. Then I don't know. Zhang Tianyu was about to speak. Hangai suddenly smiled coquettishly and said in a soft voice, but it seems that you look like my master. Why don't we make a bet? As long as you can beat us today, we will recognize you as our master. How about it? As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was in an uproar. Damn, they are not done, right? Let them stop making trouble. Zhang Tianyu said in his heart. Hey, how can you be so shameless? Xiao Wu couldn't stand it anymore, pointing at Hangai and scolding. Hangai ignored her and looked at Zhang Tianyu with burning eyes. Zhang Tianyu rolled his eyes wildly. The system gave the answer. They think this is a good opportunity to make your relationship public. What the hell? Zhang Tianyu was helpless. They recognize me as their master. How can I pick up girls in the future? Lan Yu was sensible and said, okay, I won't joke with you anymore. Please go out next. Off stage. Boss day. Let's team up. Let's fight them, and if we win, we will be their masters. Mahanjan said excitedly. To be honest, Dame Yubei was also very tempted. He had never enjoyed twins of such high quality before, and it was impossible for him to say that he was not itchy. But considering Zhu Xiaogang next to him, he immediately refused righteously. Don't think about it, it's impossible, and even if I can deal with one, you can't deal with the other. Flanders laughed at his students unceremoniously. Look, they are all masters of level 37, and you still want to be their masters with your strength? Then teacher, let's team up. Mahanjan said immediately. Flanders pinched his ear and said, are you mentally ill? If we team up, will you meet a soul lord? If we team up, you will meet a soul saint. After Flanders pulled his ear hard, Mahanjan finally calmed down and lowered his head in despair. Now you know you are weak. Flanders said seriously, it's enough to know you are weak. If you are not strong enough, you are not even worthy of chasing women. Remember. Mahanjan nodded seriously. On the ring, the fighting spirits of both sides have begun. The two sisters are both weapon spirits. Hangai's spirit, Scarlet Queen, is a long sword that spews out flames, and Lan Yu's spirit, Azure Rose, is two gun-shaped objects that exude cold air like ice sculptures. The two people are one ice and one fire, one far and one near, plus the two have spirit fusion skills. TSK 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 TSK. These two people team up. It is estimated that they are invincible at the same level. Zhang Xianyu and Xiao Wu also completed the spirit possession at the same time. He didn't intend to kill them both right away. He wanted to see how strong they were. First spirit skill, flame armor. First spirit skill, ice touch. The sisters used their first spirit skills at the same time. Hangyu immediately had a layer of fiery red armor on her body, which completely wrapped her plump and attractive body. At first glance, she looked like an armored warrior. Lan Yu's appearance did not change much, but her hands and feet began to emit an ice blue light. Flame armor increases attack and defense speed and soul skill damage in 3 dimensions, and has the effect of burning enemies within a 1 meter range. Ice touch increases attack speed, movement speed and soul skill damage, and will slow down by 30% after being hit by a bullet. The system introduced. Zhang Xianyu nodded secretly. Hangyu is a meat shield. I have to go to Jengxin City to get her a set of armor in the future. Lan Yu is a long-range assassin. I have to find a way to get her some accelerated soul guides in the future. As he spoke, Hangyu had already rushed in front of him. Xiao went up to her fearlessly and angrily. Lan Yu also raised her 2 guns and pointed them at Zhang Xianyu and pulled the trigger. Bang, bang, bang. What was fired from the muzzle was not an ordinary steel bullet, but an ice blue soul bullet. Moreover, this bullet was tracking. Zhang Xianyu controlled the flying sword to dodge, and the bullet directly caught up with him in the sky and followed behind him. Awesome. Zhang Xianyu exclaimed. Although my fireballs, flying swords and sword energy can track, they are all soul skills. Lan Yu doesn't even need to use soul skills. The bullets fired by her martial soul have tracking capabilities. The system replied. After all, the enemy is a soul master with fast speed, so it is difficult for bullets to hit people. In the river, Zhang Xianyu nodded. But let's fight quickly. The more they show their strength, the more difficult the situation will be later. On the ground, Xiao Wu and Hangyu were already fighting. Xiao Wu was not Hangyu's opponent in the first place. Now Hangyu has the protection of armor. Especially this armor also has the effect of Sun Flame Cloak. Xiao Wu was miserable on the spot. Not to mention whether she could win. First of all, she didn't dare to fight. If she got close, she would feel a burning pain. Damn woman. Xiao Wu cursed in her heart. Not to mention seducing my Xianyu. She is so difficult to fight. Hangyu smiled and said, come on, don't just run. Come and fight. Xiao Wu was so angry that her teeth itched. Even if Zhang Xianyu didn't tell her, Hangyu wouldn't hurt Xiao Wu, so she kept teasing her. But the more he teased her, the angrier she got. At this moment, Lan Yu suddenly screamed from behind. Hangyu was stunned. When she turned around, she saw a figure with black light rushing in front of her. Hangyu was startled, and it was too late to react. In the blink of an eye, a black sword was against her throat. I'm out. Hangyu took off her armor, shrugged, and left the ring. When she passed by Zhang Xianyu, Hangyu whispered, "Our master, you are so fast." Fuck. Zhang Xianyu rolled his eyes. Don't say I'm fast. Only Lan Yu was left. Although Lan Yu's speed became very fast under the blessing of the touch of ice, in front of Huang Quan, her speed was just like a child playing house. Like Hangyu, she was subdued in one encounter. Master, you are so fast. Lan Yu also moaned and whispered. Damn it, believe it or not, I'll deal with you guys when I have time. Zhang Xianyu was so angry. Then I'll let you guys see how fast I am. They agreed. The system said. Fuck, then let them wait for me. Fengwu Jiushan combination 1. It's amazing. The host exclaimed. I didn't expect Zeman Chuksu to be so fast. Zhang Xianyu, he dared to say you are fast? Let this host also see how fast you are. The system said. Shut up. Zhang Xianyu said. Chapter 50. Zhu Zuking realized. My Hangyu. She lost. No. Lan Yu, my goddess. She lost. No. I'm so heartbroken. So sad. After a few seconds of silence, the audience wailed. Zhang Xianyu looked at them with a happy face. This is called the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is anxious. The sisters didn't say anything after losing, but these licking dogs were anxious and jumped up and down. TSK TSK TSK. Interesting. We won. Let's go. Zhang Xianyu patted Xiao's shoulder, but Xiao didn't shout yeah like before, but looked at Zhang Xianyu worriedly and asked, what if they are not joking, and they really recognize you as their master, after losing to you? I'm not their dog, why should I do whatever they tell me to do? Can't I just not do it? Zhang Xianyu answered casually. But what if they keep pestering me? Xiao asked again. That won't happen. We are all people with dignity. Who would pester me for nothing? Zhang Xianyu said. Xiao looked at him seriously. I said if. Zhang Xianyu also thought about it seriously. Well, then please help and drive them away. But I can't beat them. Xiao said. Silly you. I will help you. Zhang Xianyu said. Upon hearing this, Xiao's hanging heart finally let go. This is what she wanted from Zhang Xianyu. Xianyu is the best. Xiao took Zhang Xianyu's hand and said with a smile. Although it seems that her mood has improved, there is still a deep melancholy in the depths of Xiao's eyes. After all, their identities are different. She is a soul beast, and Zhang Xianyu is a human, and he is also a particularly outstanding person. She knows very well that it will be difficult for the two of them to be together in the future. Spectator seats. Xianyu, why did you give up such a good opportunity? As soon as the two returned to the spectator seats, Mahanjan rushed over. Huh? What are you talking about? Zhang Xianyu looked puzzled. Damu smiled and said, he feels sorry for the twins. Why don't you agree to them? If you win, you will be their master. You can let them do whatever you want. Hey. If I can. Okay, Flanders grabbed his ear again. Since the fight is over, let's go back. Come with me. Okay, Dean. Mahanjan naturally knew where Flanders was going to take him, and immediately followed Flanders with a smile. Not bad. Before leaving, Flanders looked at Zhang Xianyu deeply. Keep doing your best and be humble. I'll remember, Dean. Zhang Xianyu answered seriously. Flanders nodded and turned to leave. Mahanjan was very loyal and asked Damu, Boss Day, do you want to come with us? Damu's face froze. No. Stop talking nonsense. Get out. Mahanjan was very excited at the moment because what was about to happen was very exciting. He was so excited that his brain was not working well again. Let's go, Boss Day. Let's go together. Didn't you say that women are not counted as population but as resources? Damu was angry. Get out. Get out. Damn, fat guy, are you sick? Xiaogang is still beside us. Have you forgotten what you said before? Exclamation mark. Mahanjan remembered that Xiaogang was still beside us. He wanted to explain something, but found that Flanders had gone far away. He could only smile awkwardly and quickly fled. Damu looked at Mahanjan's back. His nose was crooked with anger. Zhang Xianyu patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry, I will avenge you and give him a good beating later. Where are they going? Xiao asked curiously. Damu took a few deep breaths and said, let's go help that fat guy solve the evil fire problem. Xiao said unhappily, are they going to harm girls again? I really doubt whether the mutation of his martial soul is related to his natural personality. Xiao is really nosy. Damu said, it's not a disaster. Don't you know that there is a place called brothel in this world? Tang San said in disbelief. You mean, the dean will take Mahanjan to that kind of place? Damu said, there is nothing we can do about it. Mahanjan's martial spirit is one of the most powerful beast martial spirits except for that defect. He is also the dean's direct disciple. We can't let him give up training, or watch him explode and die. Xiaogang finally remembered the line, men are all dirty. Xiao giggled and said, Sister Xiaogang, don't hit too hard. Xianyu is very clean, unlike Damu and Mahanjan. Damu spread his hands helplessly. Okay, your Xianyu is pure and innocent, and we are all dirty, okay. But I have much better taste than fatty. Xiaogang grasped the key point and asked Damu, your taste is better than his? Damu was stunned. Shit. He finally let it slip. Whether the taste is good or bad, it's all about the things in the brothel. Xiaogang, no, Damu wanted to explain something, but Xiaogang didn't listen, and didn't even say the line in the original plot, but turned around and left. Zhu Zuking didn't scold Dame Yubei, so Dame Yubei didn't yell at her to stop angrily, but followed her dully. Xiao Wu looked at them with her big eyes blinking, and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong with them?" Zhang Tianyu shook his head. "Let's go back to." Xiao Wu nodded, and held Zhang Tianyu's hand tightly. Hong Yu's words on the stage just now have made Xiao Wu alert. Zhang Tianyu is too good, and he will definitely be remembered by others, so if you don't hurry up, he will be snatched away by others sooner or later. Zhu Zuking didn't scold Dame Yubei because of the scene on the ring. When Han Gaiyu said, "As long as you can beat them, you can be their master," she clearly heard Dame Yubei's breathing become rapid. When she looked at Dame Yubei, she found the unconcealable desire in Dame Yubei's eyes. On the other hand, Zhang Tianyu, Zhu Zuking's eyesight was strong, and she could clearly see all of Zhang Tianyu's reactions. When Zhang Tianyu heard this, his eyes did not change at all, and he was still as calm as a pool of water. In other words, in his eyes, this kind of beauty was like dirt. What he really valued was Xiao Wu, who grew up with him. Look at Dame Yubei, who grew up with her. Is she the only one in his eyes? It's so funny. The gap between people is really big. She was not against having 3 wives and 4 concubines, because that was the style of her family. If Dame Yubei was happy with his wives and concubines, she would not mind. What she really minded was that Dame Yubei was with that kind of dirty woman, and that Dame Yubei was not ambitious, and was so indulgent at the age of 15. Dame Yubei was not even as good as one finger of Zhang Tianyu. At this moment, she was really envious of Xiao Wu, and was about to go crazy. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.